in Berlin. We went down to like Venice, then we came back up through Milan, and then ended. We took the tunnel and then it flew out of London like 2 weeks later. Yeah, it was fun. I'm glad we started at 6:30. Jeff, I got 6:30. I don't know about you. All right.
You ready? Randall, you ready? Everybody ready? All right, we're going to get started. Thank you for coming out to our October 27th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Welcome to everyone. And we, of course, as we always do, we start with the approval of our minutes from our last meeting in September on the 22nd. Ask all the commission to, if they've had time to review those, and if so, we would entertain a motion for approval there when everyone is comfortable.
I move to approve the minutes of the September 22nd, 2025 Planning and Zoning meeting.
I'll second.
Go ahead and roll call when you get time.
Jeff Garrison,
Aye.
Kayla Berger is absent. Susan Daniel. Aye. Hadley Goldberg.
Aye.
Lacey Colbert is absent. Trevor Branch.
Aye.
Chad Zinkafus.
Aye.
Adam Brown is absent. And Pete Renfro.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving right along, we have no scheduled visitors or guests this evening, nor do we have any unfinished business to address. So we'll jump right into our new business. But I did want to mention, since we do have so many applications this evening, to remind ourselves when we make a motion on a particular application, we motion in a positive manner and then let the vote deny or approve, right? Everybody remember that? I just don't want any confusion as we go down through the evening. You always motion to approve and then the yay or nay votes take over. So just as a reminder, since we have so many applications this evening. So we'll move right on into our new business, which is designated letter A, which is an annexation number 25-0009. Property location is a strip of land generally composed of the South 17th Street right-of-way extending north from the West South Street Business 65 intersection to the northern extent of the Ozark Marketplace subdivision. Property owner is Missouri Commercial Development, LLC. And there is Randall, and take it and run.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Our first agenda item, as Chairman Garrison explained, is an annexation. This is a portion of the right-of-way. It's from that. It's from South Street to the edge of what is a detention pond there in the Ozark Marketplace subdivision. It's not a proposal to annex the entire right-of-way in that section, just the western portion. I wouldn't even say it's the western half, but it's approximately from the center line all the way to the west, and that includes the additional right-of-way that was dedicated as part of the subdivision. So as usual, this is the guidance we get from state statutes on what should be considered when an annexation is proposed or a petition is submitted. Is the property in the city? It's not in this case, obviously. It is compact and contiguous to the city, and that's on the south side. Now it's compact and contiguous on the east and west as well. The property is in good standing with the state of Missouri, and it's located in Tier 1 of our urban service area. So it is eligible to be considered by the city of Ozark for annexation. Just a quick look at the zoning, everything to the east and west and portion of it to the south is zoned C2, which is general commercial. A variety of different retail uses there. Probably the newest of which is the Seven Brew on the southeast corner of the property, which is actually zoned general mixed use, but is allowed. So this, as I said, this property is recognized as a right-of-way. It's owned by Christian County. It's under the jurisdiction of the Ozark Special Road District. So annexation of this property wouldn't change any aspect of the jurisdictional guide, that comes from the Ozark Road District. It wouldn't change that or wouldn't be granted to the city. It's literally just bringing the city, that property into the city limits. Annexation of this property will give the opportunity for the city to work with the developer of Ozark Marketplace to potentially receive some reimbursement for some improvements, including lane improvements, utility relocations associated with that, and other road improvements such as turn lanes and things like that. So following annexation or following this public hearing, it'll go to the Board of Aldermen and they will consider it for annexation as well. And then it will be on an agenda to amend a developer's agreement that's already in place. With that, all the meeting notifications have been met. Staff doesn't have any significant concerns with this. No comments were made at the public hearing, or excuse me, the neighborhood meeting. And again, this annexation petition is on will be reviewed by the Board of Aldermen on November 17th. And I think a second reading is scheduled for December 1st. With that, staff recommends we'll answer any quick questions. The applicant is here for the project as well.
Okay. Thank you, sir. We'll go ahead, and the applicant is here in representation of the developer or the engineer. Is there anything you want to add to Randall? Your name and business address too, if you would,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, thank you. Brett Roball, 4640 Stonebrook Court, Springfield, Missouri. I'm here on behalf of Missouri Commercial Development. Yeah, Mr. Whitman appropriately laid out the stakes. Basically, we technically own the fee to the middle, or the road to the middle of the right-of-way, 17th Street. So this is the piece that we control, which is why you see the half of it coming in. This just enables a plan that city staff and we have been working on a long time to enable us to put additional, connect Waverly all the way there and add additional right-of-way improvements onto 17th Street. There'll be a decel lane as you come south to go into Waverly, and then also a dedicated right-hand turn lane as you hit South Street, so you can turn right into South Street on that dedicated turn lane. So this will give us the area and avenue within which to do that, and then we'll be asking the Board of Aldermen as well to consider expanding our community improvement district to include this little sliver as well, so we can have a chance for ultimate reimbursement through the various mechanisms through the development of the property there adjacent to the west.
Okay. Thank you very
Happy
much.
to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, and as always with any application, we will open it up for public comment, so that this portion is open to anyone that wants to make a comment to this particular annexation application. And seeing no movement, we'll go ahead and close this the public portion of this application and turn it over to the commission for any comments, questions. Pretty clear cut. Then we'll be looking for a motion to move forward.
I'll move to approve annexation 25-0009 based on staff recommendation.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Pete, go ahead and roll call. Megan, please.
Adam Brown is absent. Pete Renfro.
Aye.
Trevor Branch.
Aye.
Chad Zickafoose.
Aye.
Hadley Goldberg.
Aye.
Caleb Berger is absent. Jeff Garrison.
Aye.
Suzanne Daniel. And Lacey Colbert is absent. The ayes have it.
Thank you. Moving on our agenda, letter B is another annexation numbered 25-0008. Property location is property on the southwest corner of East Country Crest Road and North 14th Avenue intersection. Property owner is Sonny Morris. And Randall, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. This is also an annexation request. As you said, it's 3.05 acres on the southwest corner of Country Crest and 14th Avenue. This is just a request or just a petition to annex the property. There's a zoning case following this that will deal with future use and zoning of the property. So just considering the factors that, again, that the state of Missouri sets out through state statute on what we should consider or you should consider and the board should consider when considering an annexation of a property. Is it contiguous to the city limits? It is. As you can see, it's attaches or is attached to the city or would be attached on the west, south, and a portion of to the east in the Silo Ridge subdivision, as well as the Wellington subdivision. I had to think about that. The property is in good standing with the state of Missouri and the city and the county. It as well as in Tier 1 of the city's urban service area, and it is within 300 feet of the city's infrastructure, meaning water, sewer facilities are available to connect and provide municipal services to the property. The surrounding zoning, everything there in green is R1C. It's basically a single-family zoning district. That district's been retired, but it's still a viable zoning district for those existing subdivisions and homes. The property itself, as well as the property to the north and that portion to the east, is agriculturally zoned in the county as District of A1. Guidance from the city's comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan very specifically supports the annexation and infill of areas adjacent to the city, specifically places where it's contiguous and it's almost like I think the term the comprehensive plan uses is a quilt, where there's sections of it that are left, sections of the city limits that are left out. So it does support the annexation of this. Specifically, I'm gonna have to quit using that word. The plan recommends trail and network improvements be made in conjunction with redevelopment of these properties to connect development and new neighborhoods. The comprehensive plan supports the creation of open space, preservation of historic sites, structures, and opportunities for unique community experiences or community assets to evolve or be protected. The site is located adjacent to a future Chadwick Trail Spur, and that's kind of along Country Crest. It's actually, if you look at the plan, the line is a little bit further north of that, and it probably follows a low area, but it's generally north of the property. The city's future land use recognizes this property that's shown in green and in the property across the road as parks and recreation or open space. So future development of this property, again, would require annexation first, and then we would look at the zoning of the property. Notification requirements have been met. There was significant input at the neighborhood meeting. I think we're going to have probably an opportunity to hear a little bit more about that. I won't go through that in detail. Some of it was probably in conjunction with the zoning as well. Staff does not have any issues with annexation and recommends approval of that. And we'll note, even if the zoning doesn't go forward, future development of any kind on this property would require annexation. So anything down to rezoning it or allowing a single family house would have to connect to the city's utilities. So I'll be glad to answer any questions you've got, or I can step aside.
Reiterate that again for everyone. Annexation at some point to be developed, no matter what that development is, would require annexation due to the ordinance indicating if you're within 300 feet of utilities, you have to annex and you have to connect. Is that correct?
Yes, the city has a ordinance, as well as Christian County, that any property that's within a Tier 1, which this property is, requires it to be developed at an urban density on urban services. So it would have to be developed on city sewer, city water. They wouldn't be able to put in a septic tank or have a private well. This property doesn't have an existing home on it. It might have a well, but it would, to do anything with it, it would have to connect to the urban services. And the city would require that to be annexed.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to clarify
That's
that.
fine.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And I know we do have the representative, the owner. If you would you like to make any comments in addition to what he may have mentioned? And we're just focusing on annexation right now. Okay, that's just fine. Okay, so we'll open it up to the public for comment. And again, I'd like to reiterate that this specifically has to do with the annexation of this property into the city. We won't get into any comments or anything like that as far as the zoning. So this is simply for annexation only. But the public portion has been opened up to anyone that would like to speak to that. I'll go ahead and I'm going to make an assumption, no movement. We'll go ahead and close the public portion. Okay, I didn't know it, right behind you, sir. I'm sorry, I did not see you. Do you want to speak to the zoning, to the annexation? Okay, come forward. I'm sorry, I missed you. So to make it official, it's still open. Okay. And I need your name and address, please.
Marley Nitasaka Jordan, 1500 East Halo Drive.
Can you move that down a little bit? There you go. Thank you.
So my understanding is that annexation is from residential to commercial. Is that correct?
No, the annexation itself is simply taking this piece of property and moving it from a
Okay.
county
Okay.
the jurisdiction to a city jurisdiction.
Okay.
That's all
So
this
would
is.
But would that make it easier then to move forward with the zoning?
My opinion, no, it really won't have an effect because if anything was to be done with this piece of property, anything at all as far as development, even if it was a house, it would have to be annexed into the city, no matter what.
Right.
It's
I
almost
understand-
a
I
straight
understand that.
requirement.
Right, I understand that. I just wanted to share the concerns of the
Mhm.
communities because we do not want what has been presented, even though this annexation doesn't really concern what zoning it is. And I just wanted to share that today and go ahead and actually just share the information
Okay.
of the concern, if that's okay.
Or you have something you want to hand
Yeah,
out?
let's share.
That's fine.
But there's no, obviously, information needed at this time.
No.
Just wanted to share.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. I need you to come to the mic and give me your name.
Hello, I'm
Yeah.
Jerry Wang, so live in 1403 East Saddle Ridge Drive. Yeah. So can you go to the next slide? So some information in the slide, I think it may not right. Yes.
Do you know which slide he's referring to?
Yes. Maybe next one.
Oh, Randall. Thank you.
Next one. Yes. So the third line from the bottom. No significant concern with respect to this annexation of this property. Actually,
Right.
I think there are a lot of concern regarding this rezoning in our Facebook group. Yeah. So our neighbors discuss this a lot. I think most of the people live around here, they just oppose to this rezoning plan. Yeah.
Well, now Nancy, we're only talking about annexation right
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
Rezoning is next.
Yeah, that's okay.
We'll
Okay.
talk about that next.
Yes. So, okay, I can leave my, I can leave my words later for this.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else?
You say next. You say rezoning next.
I need-
What does that mean?
I need you to
Next
come
meeting?
up. No. Come on up. I need your name and address, please, to make it official, so I know who.
John Strickland, 1006 East Philstone Drive.
Okay. Next meeting, we have our next application following the annexation that we're talking about now. We're going to move directly into the rezoning application for this specific property.
Tonight.
It's yeah, two separate applications, but yes, tonight. Yes. After we're done with this, we move right into the rezoning application.
All right, thank you.
Yes. Anyone else? Okay. I'm going to officially close the public portion of the application for annexation and turn it over to the commission for questions or comments. Good. Looking for a motion in the affirmative.
I move to recommend approval of annexation 25-0008 as presented and in the staff's report.
I'll second it.
Second by Hadley, and roll call, please.
Kayla Berger is absent. Chad Zickapus.
Aye.
Lacey Colbert is absent. Pete Renfro. Aye. Hadley Goldberg.
Aye.
Adam Brown is absent. Suzanne Daniel. Aye. Trevor Branch.
Aye.
And Jeff Garrison.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay, give me a timeout a minute. I got a question. Oh, excuse me. Okay, now we're moving on to letter C, which is the zoning amendment application that we addressed briefly. Okay. Same property, but read it. Property location is the property on the southwest corner of East Country Crest Road and North 14th Avenue intersection. Property owner Sonny Morris. The existing zoning, which is in the county at the moment, is A1 agricultural district. The requested zoning, once annexed, would go to, the request is C2 general commercial district. I didn't have my microphone down, I'm sorry. Are you doing this? Okay.
And I should qualify because I have the same statement. When it says it means staff has no substantial issues with, in that previous case, annexation. So good point. So this is a request to change the zoning of the same property that we just had an agenda item for. They've requested to have the zoning changed from agriculture in the county to C2 general commercial. One of the provisions in the city zoning code is to approve zoning with conditions, and we do that through a conditional overlay district. And in that conditional overlay district, we can specify certain things that limit the use of the property. I think I have a slide that kind of goes into this. I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Some of those considerations are things about what they can use the property for. Use limitations that can specify setbacks, specific buffer yards, time and operational hours of whatever they're proposing. So that's part of the application, is to rezone it to general commercial, but also to have a conditional overlay placed on it. And there's some conditions that are part of the application, that are part of this submittal. All of that would be part of the motion that staff is asking you to review in this part of the public hearing. So I'll back up a little bit. I thought maybe it was necessary to say that in advance. So we, again, look at the zoning of the surrounding properties. We look at the surrounding use. We look at trends within the area, and we look at how the comprehensive plan provides some guidance. As before, the properties to the east, south, and west are zoned single family. It's a residential zoning district. Silo Ridge and the Wellington subdivision are zoned R1C, single family housing. The property in question and the property to the north and to the east is zoned agriculture in the county. That's a county zoning district. And that's based on the fact that it's not annexed. Right now, we're in that limbo of annexing it and zoning it. So just for clarification for some of the speakers. The comprehensive plan, again, supports annexation and infill development where city services are available adjacent to the city limits. The city's comprehensive plan, the future land use element of that plan, identifies this property should be used for parks and recreational open space. And I should qualify that that's a bit of issue because the comprehensive plan often does that for property that's not inside the city. They identify areas that where there is no specific pattern of development where it's used for agriculture. If it's in a floodplain, a low-lying area, it's hard to understand why that plan says that, but that's what it says. That's what I'm reporting, and that's what we do consider. You're not bound to that. You can make a good judgment call, and we'll provide some guidance on that. The comprehensive plan makes other recommendations beyond just future land use. It looks at infrastructure and other things and amenities for the community. In this case, the plan recommends trail and sidewalk improvements, networks to be expanded across the city in conjunction with development and redevelopment. And that's just to ensure connectivity between housing, neighborhoods, and other new development, commercial included, and parks as well. The comprehensive plan does support the creation of open space and preservation of historic sites. This property could be considered a historic site. This barn is obviously a historic structure. It's quite old. It could be considered an asset. We think it is from a staff perspective. We think there's value in preserving it in some way. This is one proposal to do that. And the comprehensive plan does talk about creating unique opportunities and assets for the community. And again, the property is located adjacent to a future spur of the Chadwick Flyer Trail. Again, the conditions that the zoning code references with respect to conditional overlays districts, this is not a conditional use permit. A little bit of confusion there. Specifically in our zoning code, within each district, it identifies uses that can be considered for a conditional use permit. This is not a conditional use permit. This is a conditional overlay. Conditional overlays allow a lot more flexibility in what is included in terms of those conditions. Conditional use permits are very specific. Probably the best example, in every residential district, you can get a conditional use permit to have a cemetery. And in doing so, there's a whole list of criteria that are very specific to cemeteries. And again, this is not that. But, so this proposed conditional overlay speaks to wanting to do venue space, event centers, and that is somewhat closely related to recreational use and preservation of open space. Their proposal would allow food preparation, alcohol distribution, entertainment, games, activity, and music only as accessory uses. So that would be an accessory to a wedding venue, a birthday, a private party, or something like that. It wouldn't be allowed independently without one of those events going on. And again, commercial uses are limited to private events. They're not public events, so it's limited to how many people can attend the event, and that's mainly done by parking, but in this specific case, it's limited by number. There's 132 people maximum occupancy of the site for one of those venues. I think there's 33 parking spots identified approximately in a concept plan. The conditional overlay district would require a 25-foot buffer yard on the east and south side. So that's 25 foot of setback space with a certain amount of plantings, trees, bushes, and things like that, as well as a privacy fence. That fence would, that 25-foot buffer yard would restrict the use of it for parking and things like that. And some of that is intended to help kind of mitigate any friction that comes from that use. The conditional overlay also looks at the hours of operation. In this case, they propose to limit use of the property for venues. And again, that's wedding venues, birthdays, private parties, business parties, and things like that, to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the hours shown there. Thursday from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., Friday and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Any nuisances such as noise, peace disturbances, other things that you could expect would be dealt with or enforced by the city's existing codes. So unlike a conditional use permit, again, the C2 zoning is binding, and it goes along with the property, and it can be transferred to future property owners, and it runs with the land. A conditional use permit is issued to a specific property, to a specific applicant for that use at that point in time, and it's not transferable. This would be transferable. That's a big difference there. So amendments to this in the future, hypothetically, if this were to be approved by you all and the planning and zoning, or the Board of Aldermen, And the owner of the property, the future owner as well, could come in and ask to have this amended to expand the use, to change the hours of operation and change some of those conditions. And it would go through the same public hearing, same zoning process that we're going through tonight. Site plans, future site plans, building plans, stormwater, vehicular access, a traffic analysis, all of those things would be reviewed by our staff at the time of development. So zoning gets approved and that allows the use under these conditions, but if the applicant comes in and wants to remodel the barn or build a bathroom or put a parking lot, any of that stuff, that would be reviewed in the context of this overlay, and that would be done internally. It'd be an administrative component of the process. As part of the development, they do have to build sidewalks. They would have to build sidewalks on 14th Street, and instead of a sidewalk on Country Crest, they would have to build a 10-foot trail adjacent to the roadway. That would happen at the time of development as well. Public notification, as I said, there was considerable input at the neighborhood meeting. We'll have an opportunity to talk about that or hear more about that. The Board of Aldermen will consider this same request they'll have a public hearing on November 17th, and it'll be a second reading as scheduled on December 1st. So our recommendation as a staff was based on those conditions. We helped push the applicant to put as many restrictions on we could to get it as close to what we thought was something that we would be supportive of. They came in with possibly a different list, and we've worked with them over the course of several months to get this to a place where it was closer to what the comprehensive plan recommended. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions. I can step aside. Let me do that?
Yeah, we'll call you back up.
Okay.
You bet. Thank you.
Is there a particular slide you'd like to leave this on?
I may have you come back if she wants to.
I'll just sit over here.
Ones. That'd be great. Yeah. Just be available. Be available. Okay, now I'll go ahead and open it up to Mrs. Morris, if you'd like to come speak to that as the applicant, and your name and address too, please.
Hello, my name is Sunny Morris. I live at 1101 East Highview Drive here in Ozark. First, I want to thank the planning and zoning staff here for being very kind and helpful with me through this whole process, because I've never been through rezoning before, and they met with me many times, gave me advice and guidance, and I really appreciated it. And I also want to thank many neighbors, friends, and family that have been supportive, and I've met many new neighbors and made new friends through this whole process, and I'm appreciative of all of them. I've had neighbors even come and help me with mowing and brush hogging and different things like that. So very appreciative of that. So I've lived in the neighborhood since 2016, and I passed by the barn many times, and I always thought it was very unique and beautiful. And I always wondered what the story was behind it. And then late last fall, I saw the for sale sign, and it kind of seemed obvious that it was could have the potential to be torn down and more residential put in, because that was what was growing up around it. So my kids and I went and checked it out and decided to go for it. I knew nothing about the history of the farm, and I made an offer, and I mentioned to the realtor that I would love to restore the barn, and hopefully it could have a new use as an event gathering place someday. So my offer was accepted, and I started digging into the mystery and the history, and discovered that the barn was established around 1909, and it was on the Tom and Flora Walker farm. And then in the 1940s, it became the Tom and Merle Bingham farm. And from all the stories I've heard from different people, Tom was a charismatic, well-known businessman here in Ozark. He owned what is now the Spring Creek Tea Room, and he had a store in that building for many years, selling livestock feed and supplies, fertilizers, produce, hardware, and just pretty much about anything. His farm stretched for many miles, and most of the neighborhoods around the barn, they were at one part of this farm. After Tom and Merle passed away, the farm was inherited by their only child, Mary, and then eventually it was inherited by three of her children, Linda, Nancy, and Marilyn, who might be here today. And this is the granddaughters of Tom Bingham. And they've also been very kind and encouraging and provided me with a lot of history. So it's been really satisfying and decompressing for me over this year to spend most of my free time exploring and cleaning up the barn. I've found many treasures and pieces of history. Most recently, I found an old American medicinal spirits bottle that was from Prohibition, and it was buried in the dirt under one of the wood floors in the barn. One of my favorite things about Bingham Barn, which is what I decided to name it, is that many neighbors love to walk the roads around the barn, and this has allowed me to make many new friends and gain supporters. I was actually very shocked to discover that there were so many non-supporters after my invitation to the neighborhood meeting went out. Up until that point, I had mainly encountered many encouraging and supportive people, so I thought maybe this is just because they do not know my vision and plan, and they're unaware that the barn was close to being destroyed and another neighborhood built in its place. So I know I can't please everyone, but I would really like to attempt to please as many neighbors as possible. I believe Bingham Barn will be an asset to the Ozark community as a whole, a sidewalk buyout with the city that will eventually connect with the Chadwick Fire Trail, and preservation of a historical landmark that adds beauty and green space to the neighborhoods and preserves the rustic country charm that the city was built on. I hope it's been obvious to the neighbors that I'm dedicated and hardworking. I've been out there a lot, doing a lot of work. But something they might not know is that I'm also been a businesswoman for the past 18 years. I've had experience and success managing everything from operations, people, customer and patient experience, facility management, vendors, inventory control, and I'm also the janitor, the handyman, and the IT tech at sometimes. On top of having a good work ethic and business experience, I'm a good, respectful neighbor, and my hope is that people here tonight that are kind of on the fence will realize that, and with that, I'm happy to address any concerns or questions.
Okay. We'll call you up if we have the need for answers. Yes, thank you. Okay, we're going to open it up to the public, and I'm sure we've got, as best I can tell, a number of folks that's ready to speak. There is a 5-minute timer right here that we need to adhere to, and I assume you're going to be the first one.
Sure will. I'm Ryan Moore, 1207 East Fieldstone. All right, I just put together a list of concerns that my wife and I had with this property being zoned commercial. So I'm going to start out with roads and traffic. Traffic congestion, increased volume of traffic on Country Crest, 14th Avenue, Fieldstone, Freehold, Silo, and Farmington. The plan she presented at the community meeting had the exits of the venue out into Fieldstone and Silo Drive, which is right into the neighborhoods. Traffic flow, increased turning movements, and entry and exit points will create bottlenecks at the intersections of Fieldstone, Farmington, Freehold, Country Crest, Silo Drive, and 14th Avenue. Cut-through traffic we're also concerned about. Drivers using the residential streets as shortcuts getting to and from the venue. Increased risk of accidents, higher traffic volumes, increased likelihood of collision, especially near intersections and driveways. Driving under the influence. With a wedding venue comes alcohol. Potential for intoxicated and impaired driving associated with the proposed venue. The next section is pedestrian and cyclist safety. So children at play, increased traffic poses danger to our neighborhood children. Our neighborhood is full of kids out playing in the driveways and streets after school lets out. Very nice to see, small town environment. Pedestrian safety, walking, jogging, pet walking will become hazardous with increased traffic and noise. Cycling, lack of visibility, increased risk of accidents for cyclists. Parking and vehicle management, insufficient on-site parking. The owner's drawing presented at the community meeting showed a parking lot very small, which appears inadequate for the projected use. will result in overflow into our neighborhoods. Street parking impacts. Overflow vehicles would park along the neighborhood streets, consuming resident spaces and constricting traffic lanes. Safety concerns, increased congestion. It will reduce visibility from parked cars, could heighten accident risk. One of the big focuses that we have is noise pollution. The noise levels from the activities will create disruptive noise up to 4 or more times per week, including music, vehicles, crowd noise, and fireworks possibly. Loss of peace and quiet. Our residential tranquility will be compromised during events and on weekends. Many residents enjoy their outdoor spaces. This would impact our ability to do so peacefully. Light pollution. Headlights and exterior lighting from the events have the potential to intrude on neighboring properties. Environmental and public health impacts. Trash and litter. Events may generate significant waste, requiring city cleanup or burdening residents. Property damage and crime. More transit visitors may increase vandalism, theft, and trespassing incidents. Property value is going to decrease with increased traffic, noise, and congestion, can deter future buyers to the neighborhood. Reduced quality of life, loss of residential character, and increased signage, lighting, and parking clash with residential surroundings. Environmental concerns, negative perception of the neighborhood due to pollution and overuse. Uncertainty and lack of control. So you touched on this a little bit, Mr. Whitman, the overlay district. So rezoning, in my eyes, opens the door for future commercial use outside this this possible venue. So anything in the future is what I'm concerned about as well. It's not consistent with the city plan as talked about before. City plan proposed rezoning doesn't align with established residential land use as open and rec space. Adjacent zoning is all residential except for the green spaces shown up there. And then I believe that's about all I got. So really the summary of the key concerns I have: noise, traffic, safety, inadequate parking, devaluation of property, loss of character, inconsistency with our city planning and zoning, risk of uncontrolled future commercial use, and disrupting the peace.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for comment? Well, we got one right here, sir. We got one right here. Name and address, if you would, please.
My name is Mark Mason. My wife and I, Serena, we live at 1403 East Hayloft Drive. We're probably the newest into the neighborhood. We're adjacent and just south of the agricultural zoned area. Obviously, I'm in opposition. I debate on the word strong opposition of this. I'm not anti-business. We've been in Ozark now for 1 month. I was in Republic for 16 years. We love it. I want to see the city thrive. Honestly, I have a great deal of sympathy for Sonny's goal. It's a beautiful goal. Again, we've only been in the house for a year or a month, and Bingham's barn, it's beautiful. I knew it was a historic structure. The idea of revitalizing it, it's wonderful. The history is amazing, and I appreciate her desire to preserve it. However, the idea of the venue is the problem. The location and the venue being a problem. I've talked to several folks, and I was pleasantly surprised to see the one slide up there talking about a potential park space, trails, the attachment to Chadwick. That's one of the things that we had thrown around in conversation with the family, or with our family, is if Ozark and this barn is so historic, then let Ozark, the city of Ozark, come around it and build an area where families can walk, small little trail around it attached to Chadwick. I think it's a great idea. I would second the noise complaint, the traffic and the safety, the light pollution. I wish Sunny success, but I think it's just simply the wrong place for that type of business. It's asking the surrounding families to absorb all the impacts, the noise, the traffic, the light of a commercial operation. I don't want to call it spot zoning, but as we've seen, almost the entire area around the proposed venue and rezoning is residential. And again, we've only been there a month, but I've seen deer, we've seen wildlife, we've seen practically everything that is available to be seen in this corner of Ozark. And I would hate to see that be disturbed and go away. The proposed time from Thursday at 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., Friday and Saturday to 11 p.m., Sunday to 9 p.m. We looked at a number of houses when we initially moved into Republic 16 years ago. And we looked at a number of houses when we moved, or we were looking to come to Ozark. And inside of an addition, I always felt bad for those folks that decided to purchase a home that backed up to the pool. Why would I be sad for the people that decided to buy a house that backed up to the neighborhood pool? Because the pool is open until 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. on specific days, whether it's the weekend or during the week. What comes from a pool? Chatter, noise, yelling, excitement. And that's simply just a pool with natural voices. Again, I would just be concerned with the idea of the noise. I've not been to a quiet wedding. I don't care how well the building is insulated, how well the windows are constructed. I've not been to a quiet wedding. And I would be saddened to the idea that, leaving my house at 7:30 on an evening to run back to Republic to grab some stuff from the house, not being able to see a couple of deer that came out of that agriculture space, crossing the dead end off to the right-hand side there. Those guys and gals aren't coming back. Further on down the road, you've always got to drive slow because of additional deer, always crossing the road, always right there. They're not coming back. 9 p.m., 11 p.m., 9 p.m., no. So with that, I think I would absolutely adjust my initial statement to say that I strongly am opposed to the rezoning. Again, I think a park, a small little walking trail, the open space that was initially, or actually is up there, I just don't see how the initial body of Ozark folks would approve. I think it's on the next slide or the slide before, that they would just generally approve the initial motion. Again, I don't know if it's a slide before or after, but I was just kind of taken back that the staff generally approved the idea. I know that's why we're here talking, but that's a little concerning. And again, with that, I appreciate the time. I've never done this. I appreciate the opportunity. It's fun. And thank you for the time.
Thank you. Hey, if you can give me just a moment, stand right, don't leave, okay? If you would, I would ask that the applause cease. Just let everybody speak so we can get along, so everybody can have their say. Everybody can have their time to speak, okay? Please. Your name and address once more time, please.
I have 3 kids. I love them being able to go out there without worrying about traffic, or having to come across strangers in the neighborhood. People enjoy walks and just being out in our neighborhoods. And I do not want this. I love that why, yeah, I really do. I just think it is in the wrong spot because it's, I mean, it's just single family houses everywhere around it. I mean, we talk on the street and it just two people talking in the street bounces off the houses and we can hear it. So having a party, even though it's a nice idea, it just violates the peace, period. And if, I mean, I just want you to think that would you want your family, your grandchildren, your children, and say, hey, it's a nice house for sale. You should live there. But the noises are gonna happen every so often. And do you really feel that's inviting? So I really oppose this idea of bringing this into a peaceful space that everybody enjoys. And I want you to really consider the family values that we hold in the neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Come right forward.
My name is Marilyn Barnes, and I'm one of the sisters that owns the farm.
Can you give me your address, please?
Thank you. I can tell you that we've had a lot of sleepless nights because we are keepers of what's left of the farm. And what's left of the farm is very natural. And we've spoken to the city about the Chadwick Trail and how we could perhaps help with that. We want to talk to them some more. My grandfather's mother was Mary Weaver. Her dad was John Weaver. And my grandmother was first cousin to Howard Garrison. So our roots run deep. We were so thrilled when Sunny was interested because we didn't want to see that part come down. We had the Amish come and work on it to shore up the side so we could just came in. A lot of people that came by, they said, "You're not tearing that barn down, are you?" We said, "No, we're trying to make sure it stays." But most people that would develop that corner would take that barn down. And it easily spend $100,000 fixing a barn. And Sunny's done a lot of work herself. She's had an Amish come. I think she has a great idea. Plus, that barn is not so big that you're going to get huge parties. I wish y'all could be there. It's not very big at all this night. But anyway, we were thrilled because we thought this would be some way we could, we're all three in our 70s, we thought there would be some way we could secure a little history of our grandparents that were so far into that farm. And across the street, we still own the little farmhouse on that corner. And we thought to keep that in the family. So anyway, I thank you very much for the opportunity. And I really think some of the concerns are a little exaggerated. They don't need to be exaggerated, but I think they need to be exaggerated. So that's what I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next. Sir, I think you, yeah.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Okay, my girlfriend's texting me from home saying she can't hear anybody speak anyway, so I just want to make sure we're good. So my name's Evan Bauer. I live at 1204 East Fieldstone. Again, unlike her, I don't have a prepared speech. I just look at the photo. It's single family, single family, single family. Everything around it is single family. It's people, like they've been saying, that just want to go outside and sit and relax. My neighbors next to me are outside every night grilling. The neighbors across the street are out every night walking their dogs. They're outside with their corgi, just watching it run every night. Every day I have to look 6 times to make sure I'm not going to hit somebody in the walkway because they're walking dogs, going out with their kids, just being healthy. There's a older gentleman that walks his dog probably 6 times a day, and he's the cutest old man and his dog you'll ever see in your life. And all of that is going to go away if we have constant traffic of people just driving down Fieldstone, and who knows if they're going to dump into Country Crest, if they want to take that turn, if they want to fly down Fieldstone. They fly down Country Crest. We've called so many times to ask for speed bumps or an officer just to sit on Country Crest and watch these kids as they fly down that road because they're behind a house, so it's not that big a deal. If they're going to do that on Fieldstone, so many cars park on Fieldstone just because there might be not enough driveway space. I mean, there's just too much that they want to cram into a 3-acre lot for it. It's not going to work. They're going to just absolutely obliterate Fieldstone. Like everybody else said, if we want to annex it and the city wants to take it over and preserve the barn and make it a park or do something with it, fantastic. But dropping a business into that one green dot surrounded by yellow, because what they're not showing is on the other side is also more yellow. It's a whole new subdivision of more just houses of people that just want to be. I can tell you the score of the football game anytime there's a home game is how bad the noise is from the football field, and that's 3 miles away, let alone, a privacy fence and some sunflowers is what we were told. That'll stop all the noise. That'll stop all of it, is what we were told at the first meeting. And when we raised these concerns and said, we would love to support this and we would love to have better ideas, let's just think about this. Her exact response was, that sounds like something that you should work through. I have my plans. I'm sorry you don't like my plans. There was no communication. There was nothing. There was no sense of, she lives farther down by the pool, which would already be noisy enough. I don't know why we want to add more of that farther out, but it would absolutely wreck living on Fieldstone, living on Silo. Anything in that area would just be, it would be mute at that point. It would not be worth it. Come to Fieldstone any given day of the week and just sit. You'll hear nothing. You might, well, there's been a lot of new roofs getting put on lately. You might hear some construction, but other than that, you'll hear nothing. It's magnificent. That's why we moved here. I was born and raised in Branson, Missouri. I'm 30 years old. I moved here because Branson's too much. Ozark is perfect the way it is. I believe everybody, I think half of this room is all in opposition to this because we moved here for a reason. There would be no reason that all of us would create a Facebook group to talk about our concerns, email the mayor, email our aldermen, try to find ways to make sure that we can preserve our way of life and our values and the reason we moved here in the first place. And I would really like you guys to think about the greater impact than the city's plan that business, take up, open space. That's great, but not at the expense of the people that live there. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, my name is Jeff Hensley, 101 South 8th Street. I hear a lot of people talking about, issues with their kids playing, not enough sidewalks, stuff like that. But based off the city, you guys are going to make her do a sidewalk. I think the sidewalk definitely needs to go all the way to McCracken, down 14th. You'll have the Chadwick Flyer Trail, if approved. You'd have a 10-foot walkway down Country Crest. I live in the historic district, and there's a commercial building, probably five houses down from me. There's gatherings, I'd say every single day of the week. Some of them have 100 cars, some of them have 5. Does it bother me? Yes, it bothers me, but it's a respect to everybody, and it's been here longer than probably any of us in this room. And it's been successful. The cities came by. You guys talk about devaluation of your homes. I just got a notification in the mail that my property value is going up $40,000 to $50,000 just due to that. And I've got a commercial building just as close as what Sonny wants to do here. You're talking about wildlife. You've got 100 acres across the street. I've got deer in my front yard every single day And they've built 100-acre developments, and they're fixing to push more even my way. You're still going to have it. And what she has and looks at through her eyes, it's not going to be a slump. It's not going to be people out there partying, hooping and hollering. So I just wanted to say that. There's also a possibility through a previous employee through the city of Ozark said, you might be able to develop 13 to 16 houses on that based off of acreage. I think you would get more noise ordinance or complaints through 13 to 16 houses than somebody that has this venue that's going to host something a couple times a week. You know, wedding season's not year round. It's more summertime. And you've got the rodeo, the park, the pool, you get all that noise. Just on the other side of the Parks and Recs open space, I forgot what the city developed, how many houses are going to go there. Just right off of Green Bridge Road that backs up just on the other side of that. So this development, everybody in the yellow is going to get that effect too. So with it being a commercial space, to me personally, you know, you want to see Ozark grow. I know it's in a residential area, but I've got her a commercial space just right down the street. So that doesn't bother me. And I just want to come up here, speak my words, but I just want to thank you for my time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
My name's Tammy Jones, and I live at 1205 North Silo Drive, right in the corner up there of where, when I walk out, there's Sunny's spot. And I am not in opposition. I feel like a lot of people have been speaking for everybody in the neighborhood, but they're not. I can tell you when this first took place, I had concerns. Sunny came to me. Sunny talked to my husband and myself about what we wanted with the row that had never, I mean, this property has been nothing but a barn and overgrown stuff for 13 years that we have lived there, because we've been there for 13 years. And although it's beautiful, it's also can be an eyesore when it's overgrown, and she's worked tirelessly. We watch her all the time out there working, trying to make it beautiful. And when we first moved in, there wasn't half the houses around us. A lot of the people that have come up here to speak, they're new. We had farmland all across right there by the old farmhouse. Now we have a subdivision. There's more noise. There's more traffic. That's okay. It's progress. And Sunny at the meeting, that is not how she talked at that meeting at all. She has been so supportive and engaging and cared about what's going on in the neighborhood, which that's what makes me feel good about this, is because she cares. She's hardworking. She's invested. She lives down the road. She's a manager at a business here. She's not some fly-by person. This is real for her. This is a dream for her. And I'm going to be right by the parking lot. I mean, every time I walk out of my house, this parking lot's going to be right here. And I mean, most of the people can't even see her place from where they are, but I can, because it's right next to us. And let's talk about the deer. I love the deer. I love seeing the deer, but most of the people that want to talk about the deer don't have the deer poo in their yard. I do. I have the deer. I mean, when you mow, it's all over my yard, and they eat our flowers. So I feel like I would be glad to see them over here and not actually in my yard, because they are in my yard as well. So that part I won't be sad about. I'll still get to see them. I can still drive down Riverside Road and see the wildlife. We live in a subdivision. It is not a wildlife place. We just happen to still have it. We also have them dead along the road sometimes. But I just wanted to speak my piece, because I am right now. Noise, there will be noise, but I'm still going to go outside. I walk all the time in the neighborhood. I'm still going to walk. I have a granddaughter. I'm not afraid for her. I'm not afraid of transients. I mean, I've been to many wedding venues. We're not transients. We're people going there to see someone get married. Drinking, of course, there's always drinking. Anybody in the neighborhood can drink and drive. So I feel like I can call the police. Sunny will take care of any concerns, because she has been so open and good to the neighbors around us. She has made the place already so much more beautiful. I mean, if you go drive around, there's decorations, old antiques, bed frames. It looks really cute. And I don't know anything about this Chadwick Flyer Trail, but I'm going to assume that's coming regardless. Is that correct? Is that an Ozark thing?
Yes.
So we're going to have a trail and we're going to have a sidewalk and we're going to have places where people can actually walk and not be in the way of cars, which I like the sidewalks in our neighborhood, which is, they don't have them right there on 14. So I might be one of the few here, but I am the one that's closest and I am in support of her and really appreciate how she has brought it to the entire neighborhood. And also there is a group, I have to say, they put this on my porch, even though I have a no soliciting sign. Don't like that at all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Dean Hunt. I live at 1204 North Silo Drive. So again, I'm directly across the street from the property. I don't have any concerns or objections for what Sunny is doing. My wife and I moved here in January. We moved to Ozark to retire. One of the main reasons I bought the property that I did was I loved the view of that field and that barn. I have watched this young lady work tirelessly, spending her own money, and the improvements she has made on that property and to the structure. My hat's off to her because I'm seeing somebody who has a passion for something, who cares deeply. She came to us early on, introduced herself. She did not hide anything. She was upfront. And she has been that way, as I have observed, with everybody that she's made contact with. She hasn't been negative to anybody. She's not trying to hide anything. And I believe that she's doing this in good faith and with good effort. Something's going to happen with that property. Whether it be new houses, whether it be an apartment building, whether it be somebody buys it for farming use, which is probably the least likely to happen. But I've lived next to a wedding venue before, and I didn't see all that negative of an impact. It's more of a controlled atmosphere. It's more of a controlled environment. People are there to celebrate family or friends being united in marriage. They're not out there just to party. It's not like there's going to be a wedding all the time. During the winter months, most people will not want to have, or the colder months, I'm not just going to say winter, but the colder months, most people won't want to use that venue. So during the summertime, we have plenty of traffic now. I like the fact that the sidewalks being put in because that's more safe. Right now, we have children in the neighborhood riding around on motorized go-karts, kids on motorcycles, kids on these electric bikes. There's no enforcement there. We're lucky nobody has been hurt yet because kids, as we know, are not necessarily the most responsible, and they're not always the safest. And an accident could happen. More houses come in, more families come in, that potential rises. There's risks in anything. I think Sunny would do a very good job of managing the facility. I think she would, if she can tell that someone's, that wants to rent the place that's doesn't have the best ethics, that she may, within herself be able to say no to that business, other than have the risk of something bad happen in the neighborhood. I trust her. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Jerry Wang, 1403 East Saddle Ridge Drive. So I think my neighbors already stated enough concerns, so I do not want to repeat those. I just want to make some clarifications for the slide. Maybe the next one with the, yes. So the figure on these slides, I think may not reflect the actual situation. So we can see, so the area above the East County Crest Road marked as green. So it looks like future will be a park and a recreation area. So I think that is a great plan. And the barn area is also marked as green. So on this figure, it looks like it will be add-on for the city's park plan. But actually, these slides didn't mention it will be a vending venue, right? Yeah. So, and also the properties, the house around the bar area, so those are in the yellow blocks. If you, I think this figure is just a crop from a big map. So this is the map I received. I think everyone knows this, right? So in this map, there are 100 houses around the bar property. So I think, so all these people living in those houses will be affected by this plan. In those houses, maybe live old people, maybe live very little baby, right? So yeah, I do not think they will like this plan. So I just want to clarify, this figure may provide some misleading information for you. So when you consider this plan, I hope you could take a look at this because there are a lot of people around this, not only, the bar area marked in green color. Yeah. So this is what I want to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Can you hear me all right? Can you hear me? Bradley Maxey. Sorry.
Stay
Bradley
close.
Maxey, 1208 East Fieldstone Drive. So we have lived at Fieldstone for 9 years. I lived in Ozark 5 years prior. I had never driven down that road until we bought that house or until we went to put a offer on the house. So it wasn't a very busy road at the time. One of the favorite things my wife loved about it was how it's kind of out. It's out there. Loves to be able to go for walks and I'm sorry, I know we got a lot of people that probably live in those neighborhoods now, but ever since those new houses have been put up, the traffic has gone up so much. I mean, in 9 years, what we've seen, just that. So now we're talking about putting something there every couple weekends. So let's just say every other couple weekends. Like it's not that busy. It's still going to add traffic to that. Obviously, no one's going walking at 9 p.m. at night, but still, there's going to be more traffic. I forgot what I was going to say. I know I wasn't planning on saying anything. A couple things that have been said just from this meeting. One of those things being headlights. Ryan just mentioned our bedroom window where our headboard sits out where you can actually see the barn. So when people say they can't actually see it, we see it from our bedroom every night. And when they turn on a headlight, that's going to shine right into our, I mean, obviously it's farther away, but you're still going to see lights. The other thing is my wife likes to go for walks, as I mentioned. Just probably 3 weeks ago, she mentioned, do you know how many Fireball bottles there are all on the road? So I'm not opposing it. I'd love to have an answer for that one, how you're going to limit people bringing their own alcohol and just throwing it out. Right on the other side of Ryan's fence, where we turn and drive down Country Crest, trash is always there. All right. We're talking about a neighborhood that's not driven very much, has a ton of litter. What happens when we put more people going through there? So when I first heard about this project, I thought cool. I thought it was a place where people went to take pictures before their wedding. So I thought really cool. She's doing a great job. You are. But at the same time, once I found out what it was for, We've never been talked to about what it was for. We heard all our information from the Facebook post, Facebook group. And all of a sudden it's like, wait, this is what it's going to be? Not what we thought. So just kind of like, I mean, that's all I really have to say. So
Okay.
I think that's it. Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Pam Graves. My address is 1002 East Fieldstone Drive. So I've been listening. I was at the meeting at the barn. The meeting at the barn did not go smooth, and I'm not going to lie. My big concern is people drinking and leaving. That's an accident waiting to happen. From where my house is on Fieldstone, I'm right at Country Crest. We've had 2 kids speed down through there. One hit a fence, one hit a tree. This additional traffic that this is gonna have being filtered out to my street, I don't want that. I don't think any of you would want that on your street. I think there's a proper place for venues. I don't think it's here. It just doesn't make sense in this big residential area. We lose our small town feeling. The noise, that's a problem. There's a lot of elderly people. They go to bed early. I don't think Sunflowers or whatever she has planned is going to cut down on the noise. We don't want to hear it however many nights a week and on weekends. We hear it from the rodeo, we get it from the football game, but that's not constant. That's special events at the park. We don't mind that. It just takes away from the neighborhood. It definitely lowers our property values. I've talked to many realtors. I've talked to some appraisers. They all agreed. This is not good for our neighborhood. That's about all I have to say.
Okay, thank you.
Sue Peters, 1203 East Fieldstone. Somehow this has begun to feel like a meeting you're either opposed or for Sunny, and I just don't think it should feel that way. I don't think people that are opposed to this project are opposed to Sunny. Most of us aren't even opposed to this type of venue. We've all been at them. They're beautiful. I think they're important to have. She's taken excellent care of that piece of land. It's a really difficult spot to envision. You've all been to weddings, having that type of venue right there. Same thing with the historic part to this. We all love that. It's a beautiful barn. It's a beautiful piece of property. There's got to be something else to do with it. I think we need a dog park. We need paths and places for people to picnic. A dog park would make money. I mean, those would be things that people could gather, commune, they'd be safe. There's no alcohol. It's during the day when it's not dark. When you start dropping a venue with alcohol in 100 homes that we have lived in, that's our issue. Our issue isn't with Sunny. It's not with that we want the barn taken down. It's a lovely piece of property. It's just a tough thing to put there. So I would ask every one of you, and I don't know when this gets voted on, and I wrote letters also, and I asked as I wrote the letter is to go drive up there on a Saturday night, park your car, and just sit there, and you feel in your hearts what you think should go there and what should happen on that piece of property before you vote. And think of all of us that live around the area, Sunny included. I understand that, but that's what I would ask. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Megan Workman, 304 South First Street. So everybody seems pretty opposed because they're so worried about the traffic, but then they're saying, okay, let's add a sports complex, add up all these little things there. That's still going to bring in traffic. So you're still bringing in traffic no matter what you do. So technically it's county property. Even if it doesn't get taken out of county and brought into the city, then it's her county property, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So she could move whatever she wants because it's county property. So she doesn't have to abide to city noise ordinance like the city. So by not bringing it into the city, they're just leaving it open for more chaos and loud. I mean, because it's not zoned anything, it's county.
I will clarify real quick. We mentioned it before, and correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Any development of this particular piece of property, before anything could happen, it would have to be annexed into the city no matter what, because of where it's at.
Exactly.
So I'm just making sure
That's
you
what I'm saying.
understand
So
that,
It
okay?
has to be annexed to be developed.
Has to be.
So if she doesn't get it approved to annex it into the city and it stays county, then it's county property, correct?
But we voted to annex it, but the official vote will be done by the Board of Aldermen next month.
Right.
Correct.
I was just saying, so
Correct.
then it's still considered county property
Right
until it's
now,
actually
yes.
annexed in.
Correct.
So then county rules and city rules are different. So you'd think you'd want it to be city property because that would be more controlled, less danger. She's putting 10-foot walkways through there. She's told everybody they can come sit out there and walk through there unless there's a wedding venue going on during those times. She's leaving it open for them to use that property to make it nice for the whole community. So I think she's just trying to bring the community together and help everybody and save a good piece of property.
Thank you.
Caleb Highlands, 408 North 2nd Avenue. I'm basically up here to talk about the character of this woman right here. If any of you have talked to her.
Hey, look, stay up here.
Sorry.
Stay up here.
She's generally, all the time, one of the most genuine people. This property is her dream. And I understand the NIMBYism in the room, not in my backyard. I understand that. But the Ozark here, and I'm not saying anything about our current Board of Aldermen or our city government, we've had a problem in the past in the city where we have been adverse to having more commercial property in here. And pushing this away pushes away a lot of opportunities in the sense of more people coming into our town, seeing what the Ozarks is about, people from out of state coming to this venue and seeing the area. And you know what? That brings more people in. That brings more tax revenue in. That brings a lot of things to our city. Now, I heard someone back here say, we want the small town feel. I get that, but give it another 20 years, Nixon's going to be butting right up to our door. Sparta's going to be butting up to our door. Springfield's going to butt up to our door. We are now a Springfield metropolitan area. And I think this is positive growth. This isn't a bar. This isn't a strip club. This isn't a McDonald's. I know, we're going to get her third, by the way. This is a wedding venue. And what's the great thing about a wedding? Or any venue? You're there for something positive. She is going to have a really awesome space right here. And this space has got the potential to add more warmth to our area. I heard people say things about noise. She's not building Thunder Ridge. She's building an elegant place where there might be a DJ and a little bit of dancing and people enjoying the best day of their life. She's adding more love to our community. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. The floor is still open for anyone that wants to speak. Yes, sir.
James Thompson, 1107 East Fieldstone. My wife and I moved in here from Oklahoma City in 2008. I grew up in the area. Being raised on a farm, I love the way that barn looks. I love everything that Sonny's done with the property. It looks fantastic. Our concerns are the roads and the noise. 14th is barely taken care of by the city. It needs a ton of work as it is, and you're adding more traffic to it. Country Crest is barely wide enough for 2 cars, and you're adding more traffic to that. If we have exits from that property onto Fieldstone, we've got numerous people parking their cars, and if you've got anyone impaired, you're asking for car accidents, people hitting parked cars in the evenings after leaving the weddings. I love what Sonny's vision is. I do. I just don't see that this is the right location for it. I've been inside the barn. That barn is not geared and designed to house an event. It's there for horses and agriculture use. If she wants to use it for a wedding venue, you're going to have to gut the inside of it, and then you just have a shell of the barn. The barn's no more. It's just a facade. So I encourage the city to consider taking the property into a historic landmark and historic use, converting it to some sort of city park, like the previous speaker mentioned, a dog park even. But I don't think this is the right use for this property as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Hey everyone, Buddy Dockham, 1402 East Hayloft Drive. Just want to thank you for the time. This is my first time doing this, so let's see how it goes. I've lived with my wife and my family directly neighboring the proposed wedding venue for the last 11 years. For the first 7 on Silo Drive, and then the last 4 on Hayloft. So I am by no means opposed to development or building the community. I bought the house directly behind my previous house. So, but I would like to say that I am opposed for all the previous reasons mentioned. Noise, alcohol, increased traffic. I think that the gentleman that just went and talked about 14th. I mean, if you've ever driven on that street, 2 cars cannot drive side by side on that street without hitting the ditch or a mailbox or a curb or something. So I'd invite you to do that if you haven't already. I think adding more traffic to that is a not so great idea, and it sounds like Country Crest is the same way. I also think that we're underplaying the use of alcohol. As a father of 3 small children, 4, 6, and 7 months old, I can't imagine a party venue or a wedding venue across the street where people are going to be drinking every weekend, a baseball throw away from my front yard. So I would say that. I love the idea of the Chadwick Flyer Trail, and I think we've established that that's kind of coming no matter what. So kudos to you all. That's fantastic. I mean, I love the Chadwick Flyer Trail by the OC. I've ran that. Love to hear all of that. So thank you. I'd be all for the city taking over the property, any other use. Unfortunately, the wedding venue, just strongly opposed to, not opposed to Sunny. She's great, and I love her vision. But I think the comment of people saying like, "Oh, we could have 10 houses there." As a father of 3 small children, I'd rather have 10 houses there. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Ashley Case. I live at 1405 East Hayloft Drive. And we've been there for 4 years, my husband and our 2 small boys, they're 4 and 1. And I have to say, I'm a lover of event venues. It's actually what part of my college degree is in. However, that being said, I just don't think it's the right location. If this was in the middle of a 100-acre field, I think that's great. I think there's a place for it. We've all been to these types of wedding venues. They're very popular. However, I resound what everyone else has said that's opposed to it tonight. I'm very concerned about the traffic. I'm very concerned about the alcohol usage. I'm concerned about how that's going to be maintained. 14th Street, people have brought that up most recently. There's people that park on 14th at night, and it is difficult just to get in and out of our neighborhood in the mornings whenever people are parked along 14th Street as well. So I can't imagine when they're home in the evenings parked and you have those traffics going in and out. I worry about the safety of all the children in our neighborhood. They're able to play freely and go across the street to the neighbor's house, but I don't think there's near enough parking being considered, and that's going to overflow into our neighborhoods and possibly have drunk people wandering the streets of our neighborhoods, and that is a grave concern of ours. I am also opposed due to what this will do to our housing values. I am a residential lender, and although it is appraiser's discretion, I have seen folks have their house marked down and what the value would be maybe if it was in another part of the city, just because it butts up to commercial. And I've had folks in here mention tonight, they live commercially and they love the area and the zoning. Well, this is agricultural currently, but it is surrounded by residential, and that is the purpose thereof. Most of us move there. Is it's quiet, it's serene, it's surrounded by families, and I would resound what Buddy Dockham said, that I would rather see 13 other houses go in that lot if the barn had to come down than see this be a venue. I also think the idea of a park there is great, as others have said. So I think there is a middle ground here that we could reach, but I don't believe a venue is the answer once this is annexed into the city.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Timothy Racine, 1101 Fieldstone. I guess I'm the old guy who walks his dog 6 times a day. I have to applaud Sunny on her stewardship of the property. She's made great changes and her heart's in the right place. However, we're talking about commercial, which means we need to be talking about the revenue and expense, etc., from a business point of view. She originally proposed 2 to 3 events a week. It's now up to 3 or to 4. It's going to have to be 10 to 20 to be viable. That barn is in a terrible condition. It's going to require a great amount of capital to bring to standard, a code standard. As far as the road, I don't know Ozark's policy on who'd be paying for some of those adjustments. Let's hope that would be passed along rather than going to the taxpayer. However, if we're in a situation where she can't provide the return on investment, what does she do? You've got to add more events or add complementary businesses to the side. So that's where your strip club or whatever comes in. We can't let that kind of event base spread to other sorts of businesses there. And that's the whole thing. This is a Pandora's box. You let C2 in there and we'll never be able to fight it. Because if she fails in her business, and hopefully she doesn't, hopefully she finds a plan that's more suited to the property and to the community, then if she does fail, and all of a sudden now we're bringing somebody else in and we're doing something else with the property, Pandora's box. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, here we go. You just barely caught me. I was getting ready to go going once, and you barely made it.
I really don't want to talk. Paula Porter, 1302 North Crestview Court. I too am adjacent to the property. The parking lot would be in my backyard. The only thing that separates me from this property is a barbed wire fence. I have notes, a lot of things have been said already. I am in opposition, not to Sunny, but to this piece of property being used for a wedding venue. It was my understanding that the city comprehensive plan, if you really do look at it, this 3 acres, the 2 access points are straight access points from Wellington subdivision. So therefore, I think the plan was for this 3 acres to be residential all along, eventually, just like the previous owner sold to get the hayloft, Silo Ridge, whatever it's called. So when you look at why in the world would you access this property from the residential streets? Because the curbs are there, the access points are there. Why would you not really in your comprehensive plan know where this was going to be residential? Because everything around there is residential. This doesn't just affect Wellington or Silo Ridge. We're talking Apple Creek, Barrington, I think it's called Union Hill, and then there's 2 other subdivisions on Country Crest that this affects. So I get the certified letters, but there are so many people, so many residences in this area that it affects, because this noise will spread, because it is on Country Crest, right behind it. We're at the top, and noise is going to be a problem. I'm not going to have enough time, but I go to bed at 9. I'm old. So yeah, 10 or 11 is really bad for me. I do get the headlights coming up from the Hayloft subdivision right into my master bedroom, so that is a real thing, the lights and the lighting. Let's see. Everyone that takes me to my house says, wow, it's so nice and quiet back here. They didn't even know those houses existed, and that's why we all love it back there. Let's see. Some things have already been mentioned. The noise levels. And, if this happens, what are going to be the qualifications of the noise levels back there that we have to abide by? Or do we have to call the police all the time if the noise levels are too high? What about the Ozark city limits fireworks? Are all those things going to be upheld, commercial or not? This is a residential place, and we abide by those rules. Road improvements mentioned, lighting, alcohol, safety and security. Like, how many bathrooms are needed for this? So there going to be porta potties put on the property to accommodate 132 strangers in my backyard. By the way, the school bus is right there. That's where they pick them up. So you are talking about kids that are with those hours could be greatly affected by this, waiting at the school bus and just getting on the school bus. I've been told 3 acres is not enough to support this kind of a venue. Sonny has a dream. I understand that, but I have a dream. I bought my house. My home ownership is a dream of mine. I have put in 13 years there. I was one of the first ones when Wellington took off after the initial builder tanked. So I've been there 13 years on the cul-de-sac, prime lot in that subdivision, paid more for it. And this will be my backyard. I don't know which part to talk about because I'm not gonna have enough time. But if this were a true historical landmark and we love, then why not? It could be. It's not. It's got to meet all these qualifications. So it's a beautiful barn, but it's not a historical landmark. And the one lady that sold the property to Sonny, they didn't do a thing to that barn for 13 years that I've been there. It needed to be condemned at that point. So I don't see why now it's so important to them to preserve it historically. I have a whole lot of things about wedding venues. They usually, 20% of them fail within the first year. And so we are concerned about what could go into this property after it's commercially zoned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen Coverdale, 1301 North Crestview, live across the street from Paula. So when I look out my front door, I see Sonny's property, even though I'm on the other side of the cul-de-sac. And my concerns is the noise. 11 o'clock at night, and there's no disrespect to Sonny. I know that she has good intentions, but when you rent out your venue, you have to put up with whoever caters it, whoever brings in the food, whoever brings into the liquor, the people that come in. Yes, most of the time, a venue like that is nice. There's Johnny Morse very close by. It's a subdivision. And it is so saddening to know that all these kids that play, their parents are going to have to keep them off the streets in fear that a drunk driver will hit them. I'm opposed to it. So just wanted to put my official stamp on it.
All right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Strickland. I live at 1006 East Fieldstone. As delightful as she may be, this is all about this becoming commercial property in our small neighborhood. And if it goes under, it's still going to be commercial. So we're now stuck with this, and God knows what comes next. We moved here. We've been here for 9 years. My husband retired from the Navy of 26 years, so we finally got to buy our dream that we could afford to live in this area. And we came here because it was quiet, it was peaceful, and yes, we had a little noise from an occasional rodeo. We do hear a little bit of the music and stuff from the pool, but you know, that's just a daytime during the summer, not a big deal. People have migraines and stuff like that. We don't take into consideration these people that, anyway, but basically, I'm against this because it's irresponsible to be putting commercial area in this tiny space. I mean, we've talked about the traffic, and it really is insane to think that somehow with all this traffic coming and going in these tiny roads, because it's going to come down our street and we have a curve there and people don't care because this isn't their area. And we're talking about, oh, people can come and they can look and they can see how great Ozark is. But that's not fair to us because that's our money that we worked hard for. And in this economy, I mean, I know this isn't her residence, this is a business, but that's about money. And this is about us living here. So anyway, please request that you don't allow this. Thank you.
Thank you. The floor is still open. Real quick, really fast. No, just comments.
Sue Peters, 1203 East Fieldstone. What I wanted to stand up here and do, and I guess I can't, is have each of you raise your hand if you've been up there at their property, if you've been on 14th Street, and if you've been on Country Crest, and you've been on Fieldcrest. I'd like to see. That's what I was going to ask. I want to show of hands. How many of you have really gone up there and looked at this spot?
Mm-hmm.
And I would request that you all do that. If you haven't, I ask of you to all do it before you vote.
Anyone else? I guess I'll let you have just a minute. Going once. Going twice. I'll go ahead and now we'll be closing the public portion of this application. And we'll turn it over to the commission in just a moment. But I will give you the floor if you would like to simply comment towards comments. Does that make sense? Respond. Good word. I like that. If you'd like to respond to maybe answer questions or to take care of comments that were made before we take over.
Okay.
And I'll need you to adhere to the clock this time. Okay? And try to talk right into that.
Okay, so I knew all the concerns going into that. So as far as safety, there's going to be sidewalks on site that can be utilized by the neighbors, the neighborhood. This gives the residents an extended walking route on safe sidewalks. Right now, they're walking on the street. So it will be safer in that aspect. As far as intoxicated and unruly guests. So I'll be focusing and considering prevention strategies. I'll have a contract with clear policies and ensure it is communicated with event hosts and vendors, requiring if someone wants to bring alcohol to their event, they'd have to have a vendor that has proof of license and insurance. The contract policy will have zero tolerance for aggressive, violent, or disruptive behavior. I'd be willing to consider things like implementing a last call before the event ends and not allowing outside alcohol, trying to partner with rideshare services and encouraging guests not to drive intoxicated. And I've been trained in de-escalation techniques for my work, and if I ended up having any staff, they would be as well. As far as traffic, parking, and roads, Also, Megan, I forgot to, if you could have that site conceptual plan pulled up. So as far as traffic and parking, I'm proposing a parking lot with 33 stalls, which would be a maximum of 132 people. That's expected to generate 76 trips during peak time. Trip making for my proposal does not coincide with weekday commuter AM and PM peak hours. Critical hours for an event are expected to occur when volume on the adjacent street networks are lower. Traffic generated by my proposal would have negligible effects on surrounding intersections and roadways during the weekday peak periods. Therefore, my proposal is not anticipated to materially affect peak period operations, and if the property develops as a single-family residential, it would be expected that at least 9 houses would be constructed, and those 9 homes would generate 82 trips during the day on average. My proposal would generate less traffic. Spillover parking will not be allowed and will be clearly stated in the contract with hosts and vendors. And I had a traffic memo done by a civil engineer to get all those stats. I didn't do that myself. So as far as noise, that was probably the hardest one for me to find a solution. I don't have really a main solution for that because it's going to happen. Whether there's housing or a venue. So, but amplified sounds will be limited to designated hours to respect the neighbors, and sound levels will be monitored during the events to stay within ordinance. I'll have natural buffers to help minimize the spillover. I can't get rid of it altogether, but guests and vendors are also prohibited from producing unreasonable or loud, disturbing, and unnecessary noise. There is, as far as lights, I'll be subject to complying with the dark sky ordinances, which that means that any lights will have to be pointing downwards, so there won't be lights pointing up into the skies or over into people's into their homes. And that will actually help minimize light spillover, while as a residential neighborhood would not be subject to that dark skies ordinance. I'll have to have a stormwater management plan, which I have one, but this is all conceptual. And as far as property value, I think that's probably a matter of opinion because I've talked to many realtors as well and have had the exact opposite told to me. So I've had realtors that are successful and sell properties around there, and even some that have sold properties in those neighborhoods that have told me that it would actually increase property values.
I need you to wrap it up pretty quick. Okay.
Well, I was to the end where the principal uses would be, if approved, special events. It could be private events, weddings, anniversaries, birthday parties, family reunions. It could be private corporate or community functions. It could be art exhibitions, photo shoots. It could be general gardening, landscaping, horticulture, seasonal crops, agricultural, historical, educational, and nature. And then accessory uses on that would be things like temporarily erected tents at an event or catering, prep area for on-site food service or vendor support.
Sonny, I need you to wrap it up, please.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Okay, we've turned it over to the commission, and my thought was if we can conglomerate our questions and concerns with Randall, when we'll bring him up, and start there. Is that okay with you? You're welcome to go to the podium, or if you want to answer right there, it's fine too.
Stay here.
Turn on your mic.
I'll stay here.
You want to go first?
Sure, I got a lot
Go
of
first.
issues and concerns with Randall.
Go first. I take second.
A few questions. Who has the ownership of 14th and Country Crest? Is that cities that OSRD, Christian County?
It's Ozark Special Road District.
Okay, so the city has no control jurisdiction over those two streets?
No, sir, just the internal streets.
Clarify that, 14th and which?
Country Crest.
Country Crest? The two primary streets that would lead to this location
That's right.
from McCracken or Riverside. I think it's Riverside. What's the total number of parking spaces being provided or proposed?
She shows 33 there.
Okay, I couldn't read it. 33. And last question, Randall, as far as buffer yards, I can see the landscaping and so forth. Does that also require a 6-foot wooden privacy fence?
Yes, it shows a 25-foot buffer yard, which is typical in a C2 district against residential. I can't tell you the planting count, but yeah, it includes a 6-foot privacy fence. So there's already a fence there on the property to the east, but we'd have to evaluate how that fence, the new fence gets built. But the existing fence could qualify, but it wouldn't be on her property. It all depends on where it's located and whatnot.
So it's one last question. The applicant is requesting C2 commercial zoning, but there's a conditional overlay district conditional overlay that's being put on that property. So I heard several speakers mention that if this venture were to fall through, then someone else could come in. You have a commercial property, you can do whatever you want. In fact, that's absolutely false because the conditional overlay still remains on the property. So if Miss Morris sells it, goes out of business, whatever, the exact same restrictions would be on this property for the new owner, unless they came back to this board and to this commission and the board to rezone it.
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
My turn. I'm going to go second. Just to reiterate what Chad just said, to clarify, the conditional overlay transfers from ownership to ownership and cannot be adjusted or changed unless it comes back before the board.
That's correct.
Okay. It was mentioned in one of the comments, and I had it in my mind as well, spot zoning. Can you clarify the definition of that, or is it, or not?
I think that term's a little bit subjective. I think by historically, we'll say anecdotally, I think it probably is spot zoning to most people. And I say that because the majority of the area around it's residential. It's either residential or it's agriculture. So if you look at the majority of how the property around it's used, this is kind of it's not residential and it's not agriculture. It is commercial by nature because it would be a commercial district. So I guess again, that's subjective, but I think it probably is spot zoning. That's a tough question to answer. It's an opinion question, but we don't use that term in the zoning code.
Right.
We use tools to mitigate zoning where there's friction, everywhere somewhere in the city, commercial zoning is going to touch up against residential somewhere, multifamily or some other way. And we use tools like setbacks, buffer yards, landscaping, short fences, tall fences, building height, all types of things to mitigate that friction. So that's how we deal with uses that eventually somewhere collide. It's not uncommon for a commercial street to have residential behind it. Maybe it's multifamily and then single family, and it kind of steps back in intensity. But at some point, residential or a lower intensity use collides with a higher intensity use. That's what would happen here, and they would apply those standards or some tool to mitigate that friction.
Okay. Sidewalks / trail. What would Ms. Morris be responsible for in that vein? Simply the perimeter of her property, or will it extend beyond that?
She would be required to build a sidewalk on 14th Street, just adjacent to her property. And she would be required to build a 10-foot trail on Country Crest, just adjacent to her property. So it wouldn't go beyond the limits of her property to the west or to the south. So the notion is that the city plans a trail there, and as property develops or as the city gets funding, whether it be from a grant or direct funding from the budget, what have you, that's how trails get built. We build them incrementally as development comes along and as resources or opportunities kind of become present. So it very well could happen if this were to go through. She builds those pieces of sidewalk and trail and they don't get extended for, it just depends on the opportunity to extend them or get a grant or funding. So they may never go anywhere. In other words, it could be a trail to nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but it will be required on her property.
Yes, sir.
If it passes. Can you comment on with it being, you're going to have a traffic study that involves the city of Ozark and OSRD, correct?
That's correct.
Prior to development.
That's correct.
Correct.
And it would be based on the number of parking spaces and her occupancy, which she's proposed, I think, 132 guests. And that's the parking and the guest ratio is what they would do that study based on.
I just wanted to bring that up to clarify. Someone mentioned the city of Ozark hasn't ever taken care of 14th Street. Well, it's not theirs. Ozark Special Road District is responsible for it and Country Crest. There's a lot of confusion in our town of who owns what road. So I just wanted to clarify that for you, okay? And then if you would, and then I'm going to hush and turn it over to somebody else. Ms. Morse did mention that during development concerning lights, that she would have to adhere to the dark sky ordinance of the city of Ozark once annexed, no matter what. Can you touch on that just a moment for what that really means, where they understand? I mean, it can be real simple.
Sure, I'll try.
I'd rather you do it than me because I'll probably chop it up.
Well, first of all, that would apply to anything. That could apply to street lights in a residential subdivision, and basically it means that they aim down and that the lights do not point upwards. And it's a notion that it creates down lighting rather than up lighting. That's the long and short of it. So if she were to develop it as she's proposed there, any parking lot lighting, any exterior wall packs on the buildings, any lighting at all, even if it's sidewalk lighting, all has to aim down. It has to have a shield on it, or it has to be designed so that it's dark sky compliant.
Okay.
And that's an ordinance that exists elsewhere, everywhere in the city. It wouldn't just apply to this property, so.
Well, that's what I wanted to clarify, because street lights have to apply that now too, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm done. Suzanne, it's your turn.
Okay, so after, let's say she's had many, many years of success in this business and she wants to retire or something, what happens to the property when she wants to sell it? Is it possible for it to be rezoned as residential at that point?
Yes, it would be a rezoning application, just like we're going through now, a public hearing with the planning commission, and then it would go on to the board, and 2 hearings and a public hearing and a second reading. Yes.
So
That's if she
assuming
wants to
that-
do something different.
Right.
Again, if she sells it to somebody else, they could continue to have a wedding venue or based on these same conditions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, still open to commission.
I have a question, but not necessarily for Randall. So here's my question. I'm looking at this parking thing. You say 132 people, including staff. So does that mean staff's additional? So that takes into account 4 people per car. And I think of people coming to weddings, a lot of times it's couples. So that just seems like there's not a lot of parking. So you said you'd have things in there and agreements and things like that, but where are these people going to park? And if you can step up to the microphone, please. Sorry.
The requirement is to have 4 parking spots or 1 parking spot per 4 guests. So in my contract there would be like a limit on how many guests could be invited, and it probably couldn't exceed like 100 because we would need extra parking for any vendors or staff. So should be ample enough parking. And if not, there's no spillover allowed. So somebody's gonna have to carpool to the event.
Okay. And Sue, I have driven it. I just wanted to make sure I didn't raise my hand, but I have been through the area a lot. But I tried to go some different times as well. I tried to go through the area also when the bus came out. I know someone mentioned when the bus lets out. So I teach at the high school, and I kind of went through and I wanted to kind of see what that looked like, especially for that Thursday and Friday piece. So, okay, thank you.
One more question. When the traffic studies are done and saying that there are improvements required on whichever street or all, where does her responsibility stop? At the perimeter of her property, or does it extend to maybe the next main thoroughfare, or how does that work?
Most likely it would just stop at the perimeter of her property. I mean, if the parking study, or the traffic study, and again, just hypothetically demanded a turn lane or widening, it would be to the extent of what the traffic study said. And if the traffic study were to say that those improvements had to extend beyond the edge of her property, then that would be required.
So it all depends on how the traffic study turns out.
That's right.
It can be beyond her property.
That's right.
That was the point I was trying to make, and I said it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I should qualify too. This is just a concept plan. This isn't something we've reviewed. It's not binding. It's not part of the proposal, but it does give us an idea of what she was talking about, what she was planning. And it helps us kind of shape our staff report and comments that we provide to you. So if this were to get approved, we would go through this process internally and look at the parking. We would look at how it applies to the zoning code, any other city codes and stormwater and things like that. So to meet her parking requirements, she might propose some parallel parking on those drives. I'm just throwing ideas out here. But our ordinances wouldn't allow her to just park freely in the grass or the lawn or anything like that. So it would limit it to parking on the paved areas exclusively, and that would be part of the requirements, as she said, that they wouldn't be able to park on the streets. Overflow parking would have to be contained to the property. And we may have some suggestions as a staff, like she put gates up to prevent people, unless she just absolutely wants to, let people freely come onto her property. We would probably have some recommendations to curtail things that might become a nuisance later on.
Right.
That the lights turn on or off during certain hours, or we would have to look a little closer at when she specifically gets a actual plan before us.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments, concerns? You can go again if you need to. Not for a motion yet.
No.
Oh, it's open, yes. Yeah, it doesn't have to be to Randall only. You can go anywhere.
Thank you.
You can go anywhere.
First of all, I just want to thank everybody for coming out and letting your voice be heard. We appreciate it. I didn't know what to expect on this one coming in, and to be honest, I'm struggling with it a little bit. Ms. Morris, I commend you and your vision and your plan. I think it's really cool. I'm struggling with if this is the right location or not. I also would stress that all the residents out there call OSRD on a weekly or monthly basis and let them know your concerns with the street system. That's the only way that something's going to get done out there. The city doesn't have any authority to do anything. So I didn't raise my hand earlier, but I did drive that twice today. So I'm familiar with it. It is narrow and rough, and there's been lots of utility cuts and patches and so forth. And anyway, just wanted to mention that. Yeah, I'm concerned with the location being in the middle of the residential neighborhood. I had my mind made up before we came in how I was going to vote, but I was surprised with the amount of time and effort that Ms. Morris has went through in meeting with the neighbors. I wasn't expecting any speakers in favor of the request to rezone, so that was caught me off guard. But I'm just not convinced that this is the right location for this. It's a long ways from any other commercial development. It's tucked away inside some neighborhoods, and you have to drive through a neighborhood or two to get there. You know, I do agree with Ms. Morris's comments on the traffic. I think this is going to be very low intense, just based on my experience. Single-family residential homes will generate more traffic on a weekly basis than this facility will. So I don't have concerns with that, but I'm struggling to support this one. And I guess with that, I'll just end my comments.
I will comment on Mr. Zickafoos's experience. He works with the city of Springfield in traffic. He knows what he's talking about and knows what would come with 9 houses or more, or whatever that might be. I mean, he deals with it every day. But I have to comment somewhat in agreement. I think your idea is wonderful. I think it's great. I'm just not sure it's at the right place. And I, as you, was somewhat surprised with affirmation coming from the community. I was truly surprised. But as that is may, if we don't have any other comments or questions by the commission, you?
I do.
Okay.
I have one for Randall. Randall, there still has to be the preliminary plat brought before?
No.
Or is this administrative? Is that
No.
what you were saying a while ago?
No, if she doesn't plan on subdividing the property and leaves it 3.05
Okay, yeah.
acres, there wouldn't be any platting. She could come forward with a site plan and
Okay.
building plans, evaluation of the barn. There's a lot of things she's got to do and address: traffic, stormwater.
That would be the administration.
All of that would be administratively, yes.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, I just want to say when I first saw that the zoning request for commercial in the middle of a residential, little red flags going up in my mind. But when I saw that there was the special overlay district and the restrictions that would go on that helped me feel a lot better about the expectations. Something that I have to remind myself of is when we're considering a zoning application, we're not exactly supposed to look at what is going to be planned in the future or things like that. So that's one thing that I'm considering is what is in front of us and how does it fit everything as far as the comprehensive plan and such. So those are just some things that I've been thinking about.
Thank you. Well, I don't want to offer a motion if I cut somebody off. Is everybody good? Anything else?
I'm just waiting to see if anyone
You
has
good?
anything else. Yeah, I think so.
Good. And as before mentioned, I will make a motion for approval of zoning amendment 25-0005 based upon staff comments, and that the existing use of the property within the general area of the property in question.
Second.
Roll call, please, Megan.
Chad Zickafoos,
Nay.
Trevor Branch,
Aye.
Pete Renfro,
Nay.
Jeff Garrison,
Nay.
Kayla Berger is absent, Hadley Goldberg,
Nay.
Lacey Colbert is absent, Suzanne Daniel,
Nay.
Adam Brown is absent. The nays have it.
Okay, thank you, Megan. And just to make it clear for everyone involved, we are a recommending board to the Board of Aldermen. There's still a public forum meeting to be had in November, and then a second meeting for the vote on that from the Board of Aldermen. And you're all welcome, of course, to attend that first one in November. Okay? Thank you, everyone, for being in attendance. Who am I talking to? Make it real quick. We got to move on. Yes.
You do. So we need to pay.
It's that you pay taxes on it. Yeah. Okay, we need to move on. Please leave quietly. It's them. Folks, if you would, please exit quietly so we can continue. Let's give them just a moment to clear. I wonder if this is not there. I think I can take a 5-minute break for restroom, can't we? Let's do that.
It's in
5-minute
here. The
break.
bathrooms are in here. Just right in here.
Oh, Jesus, stand up.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's more than 100. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, well, there's more than 100. Yeah. You can't see all of this. Yeah. She said she back here. None of it goes that way. You want to do this Wednesday, that's the Wednesday for the-
Well, I can't get my wife to talk about it. She's too afraid.
I know, I mean,
It's better than us.
yeah, I just figured if you go this way.
Okay, we got everybody? Yeah, okay.
Could've gotten that by scanning.
Yeah, sure, perfect, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Almost trying to find efficiencies. You didn't know we moved into the end of the agenda.
Just another minute, we're still missing Pete.
What's the score of the game?
The game's tied.
I was just gonna ask, what's the score of the game, so.
Nah.
I want to know.
Maybe that's why he's gone today.
Well, that could be.
No, that's not, that's not what it is.
I know.
Then you look it up.
I wanted to say,
I'm not gonna let anybody else see. You're all right. Okay, we're gonna get started again. Thank you for allowing us a break there. Moving on to, our letter D, which is annexation number 25-0005. Property location is 6201 North Farmer Branch Road. We've got multiple addresses here, 1700 block of West Hilltop Road, 11.3 acre tract to the east of James River Church, and approximately a 50-foot strip of land south of 6201 North Farmer Branch Road and bordered by North Farmer Branch Road on the east. Property owner is James River Church Incorporated and James River Assembly of God, Inc. Megan, are you taking this one? All right.
Okay, so we will be having 4 individual applications, all relating to these pieces of property. So there are three tracts of land that are being requested to be annexed into the city limits, approximately 29.2 acres in total between the 3. And just like Randall went over with Sunny's application, there are guiding factors from the state statutes. Property A is not currently annexed. The properties are not currently in the city limits. They are compact and contiguous, though, on the western side where James River Church exists, and then to the south where there is high-density multifamily. I will note that Marabella will be on the eastern side of North Farmer Branch Road across from these properties. And then it is in good standing with the state of Missouri. The properties are in Tier 1, and then there is city infrastructure for water and sewer within 300 feet. There's an 8-inch water main that runs along the northern portions of the western property, and an 8-inch main that runs along the south boundary of the parcels. And then there's 8-inch sanitary sewer located in the southwest corner of the western parcel. So they're all within that 300-foot radius. And the surrounding properties to these are currently zoned in the county with agriculture. And then to the north, you have both R1B and R3, and to To the east, you have that agriculture, which is going to be Marabella PUD pending the board's approval. South is that high-density residential apartment complex. And then to the west is James River Church. It is currently zoned general commercial as well. And the comprehensive plan does support annexation and promotes infill where our city services are nearby and available. And then these properties are identified as mixed use. So they will be, you will see 3 zoning applications, 2 for multifamily and 1 for commercial, both of which would be appropriate uses within that future land use. And then the plan also recommends trails and sidewalk networks to be expanded as you see development occur. And a Chadwick Flyer Trail Spur is noted on the southern portion of these properties. And then the public notice was sent out according to state statute. There were no significant inputs during the neighborhood meeting. Staff do not have any concerns and support approval of the annexation. And it will be considered at the Board of Aldermen meeting November 17th. So if you have any questions, I can answer those.
Okay. Thank you very much. Do we have the applicant or a representative of the applicant that wants to speak to the annexation part of the application?
Hello, I'm Brian Kubik. I'm the architect representing James River Church.
And your address, your business address.
Yes,
please.
3100 South National.
Thank you.
I think I'm going to be talking more about the rezoning piece of it, but I wanted to see if there was any questions on the annexation of this. This was a request by the city for us to annex into the city, so that's what we were doing.
Okay.
Okay.
If you have any questions, we'll
But
call you.
I'll be back up shortly.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Are you wanting part of the public?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
All right.
I got to open it. Does anyone else want to speak with the applicant first, or were you it?
Well, there's others here, but
It will be you. Okay. So now I will open the public portion of the meeting, and you're welcome to start, sir, with name and address.
Bruce Porter, 1304 East Kingsley in Springfield. The reason public notice was pretty vague, or the summary of the findings for the neighborhood. I talked to a couple of the neighbors. We got 3 days notice in our letter, and we were out of town when the meeting happened, or I would have brought up some different things at that. So just to be clear on that, the neighborhood wasn't given a lot of notice. So I know we weren't. So that's all I got to say about that.
Okay, about the annexation. That's all we're talking about right now. Okay, all right. Public portion is still open. Anyone else like to speak? Sorry. I see no movement, so we'll close the public portion of the meeting. Megan, would you want to comment on the requirements that we do on notification? You mentioned that and said it was done, so what happens?
So with the neighborhood meeting, it does get sent out. There's a 10 business day requirement or a 10-day requirement to mail those. We have no control over the postal service when they get delivered and such. That's for the neighborhood meeting. And then and those are for properties within 500 feet of the parcel lines. And then there is a public hearing notice that gets sent to property owners within 185 feet. Those get sent out. Those get mailed, certified mailed at the beginning of the month. So, like I said,
that's all state mandated, correct?
The 185 feet property notice is, and then the 500 feet is our neighborhood meeting. That's a city
that's
ordinance.
the city, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. Okay. Commission, questions or comments?
I had a quick question for you, sir. You didn't give an Ozark address. So do you have a business in the area or do you have a home? Okay, that's what I was curious. Okay, all right. Thank you, sir. That was my only question.
Okay. Nothing, looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve annexation 25-0005 based on staff recommendation.
Suzanne will second it. I'll hush. And roll call, Ava.
Trevor Branch.
Aye.
Suzanne Daniel. Aye. Hadley Goldberg.
Aye.
Adam Brown is absent. Caleb Berger is absent. Pete Renfro. Chad Sickapoose.
Aye.
Lacey Colbert is absent. And Jeff Garrison.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you. And moving to our letter E. Now we're going to be moving into the zoning applications. We have to do those properties separately. So the first one would be zoning amendment 25-0010. Property owner, James River Church, Inc. Property location is 6201 North Farmer Branch Road. I'm sorry. Existing zoning is A1 Agricultural District within Christian County zoning. Requested zoning upon approval would be R4 High Density Multifamily District. The floor is yours, Megan.
So this will be for the eastern parcel. I will be repeating myself a decent amount the rest of the meeting, but this is a 16.74 approximately acre property bordered by North Farmer Branch. And then this is vacant. There is a drive that runs through it and then a small parking lot. Previously, there was a house on the northern portion, and they are requesting high-density multifamily. Looking at our city codes, the guiding factors that we look at are what is the surrounding properties classification, zoning classification, as well as the uses. How does this zoning relate to the comprehensive plan? What the trend of development in general is in the area, and the suitability of the property in question to those uses permitted under it currently is zoned. So currently it is zoned A1, and it is in the county. Any development would mean it needs to be annexed into the city and properly zoned. And staff feel that the R4 zoning along an arterial road would be appropriate. The surrounding uses to the north, you have R3, and outside of the picture, there's a R2 zone property as well. And that is residential in nature, vacant. The R3 is vacant, and then the R2 does have I believe there is a building on there. To the east, you have a vacant piece of property, which is currently going through the annexation and zoning process for a PUD, but currently it is zoned agricultural. To the south, you will have our third zoning application. Will be addressing the slim tract of land, which is vacant in agriculture in the county, but then you have the R4 to the south of that. And then to the west is our second application, which will be, is currently A1 in the county as well. The comprehensive plan, like I had mentioned previously, is general mixed use. And so it does allow for us to annex a donut, portion of a donut that is in the county still. The plan does call out a need for more diverse housing. So this would be providing potentially student housing for the market. And so addressing that need. And then again, the Chadwick Flyer Trail would be helped to be developed through part of this along the southern edge. So we do not have any real concerns about the zoning or land use friction, partially because there's a number of right-of-ways and that access road to the south that would be kind of providing a buffer for the surrounding land uses. And then, yes, the public notice is set to go out 14 days or more before the public hearing. And again, no significant input was provided during the neighborhood meeting. And the zoning application will be considered on the 17th along with the annexation. And we recommend, and staff recommends approval.
Okay, thank you. All right, would you like to speak to this first of the 3 zoning applications?
Well, I've got a question about that. Brian Kubik, 3100 South National. I'm the architect representing James River Church. The 3 properties that are being rezoned are generally for just one small project that is on the south side of that property. It is a student housing project because of the James River College that's in the building. The students were actually tenants at the multifamily development just south of the campus. And last year they were asked to leave that campus. I think the property sold. They moved the students out really because of parking issues that they were having at their campus. And so the students were kind of dissipated into the city, living at other locations. So we are doing a project for a single building, 36 unit multifamily project there. It's multifamily, but it is a student housing project. So the students are actually going to live there. James River will be paying the rent for these units through Evangel University. These are Evangel students basically. So they will be living there. So the biggest issue that I've had with this, unfortunately, is that it's the whole property. We're having to look at this whole property. Sounds like we got approval to bring that into the city properties. But really our project is just simply the one building on 2 acres of this total property. So does that make sense to everyone? I think that's all I have actually to let you know. I think we have some other speakers from James River that wanted to speak. So I'll let that go for now. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone else with James River? You're with James River. All right.
My name is Jeff Bone. I live at 1206 East Melton Road here in Ozark. And I just wanted to mention that as he spoke earlier, the whole reason behind this is for the students. We do need housing for them. And, having students live there in those apartments right there next to the other apartments, they've been living there for, a number of years in those apartments next door. And they're good students. We don't allow drinking. We don't allow partying. These students will be coming home at night. They've got curfews. They do their thing. They're very involved in the church. The most thing you might see them doing at 11 at night is praying for somebody. So I just want to make that statement that I do believe that having the students all in one place will be better for them. It'll be better for their parents who know anybody who's sending their kid to college doesn't want their student living, they're living here and they're living in this city over here. They're living 4 blocks that way. Having them all in one place would be a good thing. So I believe it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else from the church? Okay. I'll open it up to public comment or concerns either way. Seeing no, come ahead.
Can we bring the map back up?
Your name real quick one more time.
Bruce Porter, 1304 East Kingsley,
I won't
Springfield.
have to have it again, I don't think, so.
Okay, so the north end of Farmers Ranch Road and Hilltop, James River also owns the corner across the street where the 6-unit apartment building used to be that they tore down. So when they tore that down, they flattened that lot. So there's no ditches on either side. Now, from about on the north side of their parking lot, the very last entrance into the back of the church on the north side on Hilltop, from that point all the way down to Farmers Branch Road, there is no ditch or water control coming off the parking lot on the Farmers Branch east side of the lot. So the paved lot works perfectly fine, as far as I can tell, from about halfway back on the parking lot. The water goes through the drains, goes to the front of the church and out at 65. From the other half, the east side of the parking area, this is on the north end. And the water flows to the east into the gravelled area that they gravelled behind the paved lot. Then it flows to the north. Then there's nowhere for the water to go there. So it comes back to the west and it crosses my property at about anywhere from 8 to 12 inches deep coming from that side of the property. So unfortunately, Brian is trying to get a building built on the other end of the property. But if we're going to rezone it, and I already was at the zoning meeting with the development across the street, I think the water issues are going to have to be addressed on the north side of this property and on the east side. Farmers Branch Road ditches flow to the north down on the west side of the quarry. The natural drainage from the original farm property coming across Hilltop actually went between two of my properties. There's a natural drain area, which we put a new culvert in to make sure that that could continue. And it flows across Grapevine, which is behind Hilltop, and then through this property on the other side, all the way down on the west side of the quarry like it's supposed to go. So my only concern is that with James River's future expansions and the development across the street, we're going to have a lot more traffic, we're going to have a lot more water issues, and we need to do something about that. The church has already repaired one of the houses a few years ago that was damaged, and they had to move an entrance because the water came straight across the hilltop into the garage of the house that we just bought. And that wasn't a problem to fix it, but now the water's worse. So I've got a great video. If you'd like to watch it, I can send it to you. But it's 8 to 12 inches deep coming across the street and goes right through our property. So
Okay.
that's my concern.
Okay, thank you. The floor is still open for public comment. Okay, seeing no movement, we'll close the public portion and turn it over to the commission for comments on this particular zoning application of the one property.
Few questions maybe for Mr. Kubik or someone from James River. Come up, please. Did I hear you correctly? You're building 36 units on 2 acres?
Yes, sir.
And how many students are those 36 units going to house?
Well, they're going to be four students per unit.
Okay. And then currently there's no plan for the other 14.7 acres.
No, there's no plan for anything.
And that's kind of where I struggle with this a little bit. I mean, going to R4, I mean, if my math's right, I mean, you could have 364 units.
Yes, sir.
On that property. If there's 4+ people per unit, I mean, that's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. If we were to do that, I mean, the church is not planning on building more housing than they have students for.
Sure.
Obviously, they also have no plans whatsoever to do housing or residential, high density residential on that whole 14 acres.
But once it's zoned,
I know, I understand.
Let me ask a couple other questions. Am I correct in saying that there was a cost share, potential cost share in the past between James River Church and Marabella for improvements on Farmer Branch?
I can't really speak to that. I think I had heard that, yes. But that was with the previous developer, I believe. I'm not sure. Do you guys recall? Do you recall, Pastor? I can't speak to it. I wasn't involved we weren't involved in a project there when Marabella was working on that. That was a different developer,
Sure.
you know?
And I mean, and this isn't directed at the church at all, but I struggle with the development on the east side of Farmer Branch being required to build 1,500 foot of left turn lane when they only have one access point into the development up at the north end, and the rest of the turn lane would greatly benefit James River Church. So in my mind, it doesn't seem fair, and it seems like the two should partner together in making improvements on Farmer Branch, including ditches and stormwater. And so I don't, of course, there's nobody here probably from OSRD to answer those questions, but it just seems a huge discrepancy. Marabella's spending, I would argue, millions of dollars on Farmer Branch, James River Church spending $0. And so I struggle with this when we got 17 acres, huge potential here to generate housing, which we need, but then also everything that comes with it. So anyway,
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
We'll call you back.
Okay, all right.
I do have a question, I guess, Megan, concerning the development of what did we say it was?
17.
Just shy of 17 acres. And let's say for the moment they use the 2 on the south. Would stormwater and traffic studies envelop the entire acreage for that development? Or how does that work if there's a problem on the north end of the property, but they're only building on the south? Do those studies encompass the entire property?
It probably will not. They do have an application in for a minor sub, which obviously cannot be approved until the zoning and the annexation go through. But it would section off that 2-acre portion that they're referring to.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as far as we know, like they said, they have no plans to develop it. So unless someone has other opinions about it, but it would be just focused on this development as we.
So you could say they're going to do a replat, is that what you called it?
A minor subdivision.
To section off that piece?
Yes.
So it will become a separate entity? Is that a good word?
Yes, a separate, separate piece of
Lot.
property, yeah.
Okay, lot. Okay. So the only time that section of the property would be involved in a stormwater or traffic study would be when that would be asked to be developed.
Correct, yes. And
Am I
I
saying
mean,
that right?
the traffic study will encompass whatever the traffic study,
Well, I'm
what
more
it
on the
finds to,
stormwater,
but
yeah.
yes, it wouldn't be taking into account the rest of the development since they do not understand they do not know what the development will be in the future.
Right, okay. Go ahead.
Megan, or Randall, but that gets me thinking another question. Could the property be split zoned where we leave 14 acres agricultural for now because we have no idea what's going to happen there and rezone? Or could they bring the plat through whether it's administrative or not, could you come through with the subdivision at the same time as the zoning? So therefore we can just focus on these 2 acres that they actually want to develop today.
Based on our conversations with our city attorney, no, it's kind of a chicken or the egg because they are not currently in the city limits and they have to have zoning in order to do anything on the property, including completing a minor sub.
But if they annexed in first, say they annexed in this month, then they're in the city. So then if they came next month, could they bring a subdivision and a zoning at the same time?
But the zoning would have to go first before.
And could it be contingent on the subdivision?
I mean, Per staff
Yeah.
conversations.
I mean, I guess I'm struggling.
For split zoning.
This is R4. I mean, it doesn't get any denser than this. And so we're being asked to rezone 16.74 acres. We have no idea what may come, and we're only going to address, and I think it's pretty safe to say, Chair, that the stormwater report and stuff is just going to analyze what they're going to develop, and odds are that they're going to drain that to the south or back to the west onto their own, it's not going to get up to Hilltop. And so they're not going to address stormwater up there, whoever's responsibility it is, whether it's the churches or the other developments or OSRD or whoever. But so that's where I don't know. I don't understand the need to rezone 17 acres to high density when we're only talking about developing 2 acres.
I feel like maybe I need to jump in here. They came to us with this proposal to build just this apartment building, and we looked at it we didn't think it was in the best interest of the city or the surrounding area to do it piecemeal. We didn't think it was appropriate to annex it minor subdivision, try to zone just a piece of it, and then deal with stormwater. Stormwater is a bit of a mess, and I think I can say that anecdotally, but it's been kind of piecemeal developed somewhat in the county. This gives an opportunity for the city to look at it in a comprehensive way. All the properties get annexed and they get zoned, but we would look at it as it develops. So I think what you're trying to get at would still be accomplished by rezoning the whole thing. If they do a minor subdivision and create just a tract for the one building, we would look at it and analyze it traffic-wise, stormwater-wise. And then if they come back and want to develop the balance of it in multifamily, we would evaluate the whole thing or whatever portion they wanted to. We would probably get to the end the same way. It's really just a decision. If you're not comfortable with all of that property being multifamily, that's a decision point for tonight. We try to separate zoning from development because we can't tie public improvements or any of stormwater or anything like that to zoning. It has to be tied to the actual development application. And it's a tough way to kind of navigate. It's tough for us. It's tough for them. They've got a very tight timeline, and we've made it difficult for them by asking them to annex it and rezone it and putting off their minor subdivision. They're probably angry at Megan and I for the timeline and predicament they're in. So let's not stir the pot, but they're working at our request to do it this way, to get it all in the city so that it is comprehensively looked at stormwater wise and everything. And I think we will get there long term. Does that help?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Anyone else? Okay, then we'll be looking for a motion. Public's closed, sir. I'm sorry. You can get the next one. Because there's 2 more coming. Go ahead, we're ready for motion.
I moved to recommend approval of zoning amendment 25-0010 as presented in the staff's report and the facts of finding.
I'll second.
Ava, roll call when you get there.
Pete Renfro.
Aye.
Adam Brown is absent. Hadley Goldberg.
Aye.
Trevor Branch.
Aye.
Caleb Berger is absent. Lacey Colbert is absent. Suzanne Daniel. Chad Zigafus. And Jeff Garrison.
Aye. Bear with me, I gotta get to my next page. Okay, letter F, moving to the second zoning application. Zoning amendment 25-0011. Property owner, James River Assembly of God Incorporated. Property location, 1700 block of West Hilltop Road, 11.3 acre tract to the east of James River Church. The existing zoning is A1 agricultural district in the county, Christian County zoning. Requested zoning of this parcel is all C2 General Commercial District. You are up again, Miss Megan.
So this is going to be about a zoning request for C2 General Commercial for approximately 11-acre parcel, second of the 3 zoning applications. Vacant piece of property with partially vacant and then a partially parking lot, an existing parking lot. Again, our guiding factors surrounding uses and zoning, relatedness to the comp plan, trend of development, and the suitability of the property in question. So again, as Jeff mentioned, it is currently zoned in the county as A1. You have residential to the north, James River Church, which is zoned C2 in the city limits. So this is kind of a complementary use to that. And then to the south, you have the multifamily residential. And to the east, you have the property we just had an application on. Again, mixed use, this in combination with the other zoning amendments for multifamily accommodate that future land use. And then this one has the very small area of the Chadwick Flyer Trail noted on the southern portion of it. And then the public notices were sent out, and November 17th will be the application. So if you have any questions about this one.
Okay. We will call you back. Anyone from the applicant want to speak to this piece of the property, this particular zoning application? Don't see anybody moving. Okay. We will open it up to the public again for this portion. If you would like to speak, sir, to this piece.
So this is the narrow piece to the west of the larger piece.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it brings up, you guys bring up a lot of good points. I mean, so we let James River rezone what they're already violating a zoning classification. I've not run many cattle, but they don't graze well on asphalt. If we allow them to just change zoning and just develop on the south side, everybody on the north side that's having all the issues with lighting, with traffic, with water, the storm drains, all that, it's just going to be another however long before James River decides they want to avoid litigation and they want to try to address the issue. So it seems it's kind of bad for them that they've got to rezone the entire thing just to develop dorms on the south side of the property. But I understand what we're trying to accomplish as a city. I've never had it clarified who actually controlled Hilltop Drive, whether it's OSRD or the city of Ozark. I've had trouble getting that figured out. We've had an application in for a culvert and an entrance to a property for a month. We still don't have an answer on that from either side. So again, I guess my opposition is we allow them to rezone it. They can do whatever they want to in the future with the property, and somebody's going to have to address the traffic, the water, the stormwater, especially with the large planned development going on the east side. That's just going to exacerbate the problem even more on our end. The people that have lived there for years are in opposition to anything James River's doing because they never follow through on what they say. So that's where a lot of the neighborhood opposition comes from. Given enough notice, I think that there would be plenty of opinions that could be voiced at either council or here, either one. But I just want to bring up that somebody's going to eventually have to address the water and the traffic issues. because they're going to get substantially worse with all the development going on. So I guess I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I have to say it, anyone else from the public? Seeing no one, we'll close this portion of it and turn it over to the commission. Go ahead, you want something? I know, I can see it in your eyes.
Miss Megan, will you please? I got a couple questions. Little bit confused by the graphics. You mentioned that the church is zoned C2, but then in that slide you just had up, it says government institutional.
Oh, yes, that is the future land use map. Is
Okay.
what's noting as government / institutional.
Okay, that's
And yes,
okay.
from the comp plan.
What, refresh the commission's on what all is allowed in C2? Or maybe it's easier to say what's not allowed in C2. I'll leave it up to you.
C2 is a very broad category. Anything that provides services or goods to the public. So, you know, as long as someone can come into the property and access an employee to maybe order something or something to that effect, can fall under the definition of C2. I will say churches can be in any zoning district, so they do not have a restriction on that.
So this could be rezoned residential single family and the church could still use it for their purposes.
It could be.
I mean, I understand they'd have to buffer from themselves and that sort of thing, but
Yeah.
is there any districts that a church isn't allowed in?
Not to my knowledge.
Thank you.
Yes. I think they decided on that because it is a complementary use to the existing zoning that the church is on.
Any buffer yard between the C2 and the R4?
There is a buffer yard B requirement for between C2 and any multifamily.
Okay. All right, thank you. Guess I have one question for the church. What do you have planned for this property?
There's no plans. There's no plans for the property. Yeah. That's just the truth. Thank you.
Megan, I shouldn't have let you sit down. I'm sorry. To clarify a question Chad asked, I'm gonna take it another step further. Will the buffer yard be required between the zonings if they're owned by the same entity?
Yes.
Yes, I'm hoping is the answer.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. That's all I've got. Anybody else for Megan?
I just had a quick question. The gentleman asked who runs Hilltop Drive? Is that Special Road District or is that?
According to the city's maps, it is OSRD.
Okay, thank you.
It is OSRD?
Yes, that's what
Okay.
our maps say.
I might make one, I think she said it correctly. If they do the minor subdivision, the buffer yard would only be required on the lot they create at the time it's developed. It wouldn't be the entire length of that property on that west side. I think that's what you understood, but I'm just making sure for the record. Is that clear?
Say it again.
The buffer yard between the C2 and the R3 would not be required for the entire length of the property on that western boundary, just.
Oh, right, okay.
Just where they're building their proposed project.
It just clicked. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, sir. And that would be
Understood.
required again at the time of development.
And it would be, but as it continued in developing, the buffer yard would be required,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I'm glad you said it that way. Okay. Anyone else? Go ahead, Suzanne, you got one?
How much drainage is required at the top, how much of their drainage are they going to have to establish before they can build?
That's a tough question. Thank goodness David Garrett's here, but I will say, without making him answer the question, as I understand it, the stormwater for the southern portion of their property has already been addressed. It's a little confusing for me. I couldn't begin to explain where it flows because it's it's just challenging. But again, I think I would be cautious of talking too much about development implications of stormwater, traffic and things like that until, you know, that's not a zoning issue. It's more of a development issue, and we will have to address that when they submit a site plan and once they get it subdivided. So, but to answer your question, generally, most of the stormwater on the south side is already accounted for. There's a basin there, and there's a collection system where it goes to the south property, and then it actually goes back to the north. It's a bit of a challenge, but it should be, they will have to study it and make sure that it's accounted for, and if not, at the time of development, they'll have to provide additional stormwater. So we're confident that that will be accounted for. The north end is a different scenario. That's an existing problem that occurred. It's hard to say. It was under the county's jurisdiction. It's hard to say when that stormwater, when those road issues on Hilltop occurred and what was created them. It's tough for us to come in and be annexed and us to automatically address old existing problems. So especially with the road district being in charge of Hilltop. So this zoning change will not make any improvements to the stormwater on the north end of this property. So just to be clear to the speaker and address some of those issues.
That's your answer? Okay. Chad?
Not to belabor this, that brought up a few other questions that may be for the, I don't know if it's for the city or for the design professionals, but I mean, is it safe to say that a portion of this developed property drains to the north and to the east? I know there's some, what appear to be some detention basins along the frontage of James River Church, but does some of that property drain north and east? Really, where I'm going, is there any stormwater features for the James River property that catches the stormwater that comes off the north side of the property or the east side of the property? Seems like all the detention is on the west, and then they built the
southeast.
in the south.
Yeah.
They built that one just a
We have a pretty
handful of
large one
years
in the
ago.
southeast corner,
So there's no stormwater features to accommodate all the stormwater that's sheeting off the property to the north. And
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. I guess
my guess is you know, that I think Randall is exactly right. The water issues that they're having on that side is due to the original building that was built, you know, 30 years ago now. Yeah. Now the parking lots have gotten bigger.
Right.
And so that's probably what we're dealing with on the north side. I did talk to them earlier, and you know, I told them that I know James River is interested in making sure that they're being good servants to the public. So I know that we can figure something else out on some other aspect of that. But yeah, we have detention basins on the south side. You can actually kind of see the kind of the drain culvert, I guess, right there in the middle of that piece of property. But we have a really large detention basin in that southeast corner, which is why our building is actually right where the north arrow is on there. That's why we're putting it there, because of that. So
I'm glad to hear that the church has reached out to the neighbors. I would encourage that for the church to be proactive and work with the neighbors to address the concerns that I think
for sure
probably most of us would probably, we would assume that it's coming from, the water's coming from the south and headed north. And so
I would say it's probably cresting in that parking lot somewhere, and then there is a piece of that is flowing to the north, is my guess. It's sheet flooding from back in the day, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, there wasn't near the stormwater requirements back when that building was built originally. So I'm guessing we're dealing with that a little bit on that side. So, you know, there are some, I was kind of explaining to them, maybe we encourage them to put some kind of, you know, a curb or something on there that could kind of control the water flow to the north from our parking lot. Now from the other development or the street, I'm not really sure how you deal with that, but so anyway.
Thank you.
Okay, you bet.
Thank you. Yeah, we highly recommend cooperation, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Okay, any other comments or questions from the commission concerning this particular zoning amendment Letter F, number 11. And if not, we would entertain a motion.
I move to recommend approval of zoning amendment 25-0011 as presented in the report and staff's findings.
I'll second.
At your leisure, Miss Ava.
Suzanne Daniel.
Aye.
Pete Renfro.
Aye.
Caleb Berger is absent. Jeff Garrison.
Aye.
Trevor Branch.
Aye.
Chad Zickafoose. Lacy Colbert is absent. Hadley Goldberg.
Aye.
Adam Brown is absent.
Thank you very much. Letter G, third and final zoning amendment, number 25-0012. Property owner James River Assembly of God, Inc. Property location is approximately a 50-foot strip of land south of 6201 North Farmer Branch Road, and property location, and bordered by North Farmer Branch Road on the east. Existing zoning is A1 Agricultural District, Christian County zoning. Requested zoning is R4 High Density Multifamily District. Third and final.
Yes, finally done. So this is approximately a 1.15 acre piece of property that is composed mainly of an access road. So, but it is being requested to be R4 as that will be partially part of what is going to be encompassed in the minor subdivision. So it makes sense that they would be complementary zonings and it fits in with the surrounding area. So again, our general findings that we follow, what's the surrounding areas, zoning and uses, comp plan, the trend of development, and how is this property suited with the existing zoning. So it's currently zoned A1, which is not going to be beneficial to the city to be annexed in. That's why it needs to be annexed in. And R4 will allow it to be part of that minor subdivision. So the comprehensive plan still recommending general mixed use. This will be a portion of the Chadwick Fire Trail running basically along the entirety of that area. That area does connect to what will be Marabella's section of the Chadwick Trail. So we will see a good chunk of that being developed in the foreseeable future. And then again, public notice were sent out, and November 17th will be the zoning. But if you have any questions about this one, I am available.
All right. Thank you. Anyone from the church want to talk about a piece of road? I think that's a no, right? Okay, okay. Okay, well, let's open it up to the public for any comments on this little strip on the very southern edge of the original plot going to R4. We'll open up the public portion. See no movement. We'll go ahead and close that portion. Open it up to commission. Very straightforward. Any comments? Questions? I make a motion to approve. Did you have one? Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm just looking at this buffer yard, and how does the buffer yard gonna fit in this 50-foot strip?
So it is technically required, but we're not going to make them tear out any roadway or anything to encompass that. So if there's any section that doesn't have like a paved area, I'm not 100% sure if it does or not, they would encompass some additional landscaping, but for the most part, it's more technicality than.
It's basically paved, most of it.
Yes, yeah. Oh, most of it is.
Good?
I'm good.
Okay, okay.
I'll move to
Ask any
approve zoning
question.
amendment
Go ahead.
25-0012, based on staff recommendation.
Suzanne, second.
Hadley Goldberg.
Aye.
Chad Zikafus. Adam Brown is absent. Jeff Garrison.
Aye.
Caleb Berger is absent. Pete Renfro.
Aye.
Trevor Branch.
Aye.
Suzanne Daniel. And Lacey Colbert is absent.
Thank you. All right, that accomplishes the zoning and annexation of those properties. So we're going to move on to some ordinance information. Randall, you going to be the one taking that over? We'll give them just a moment to exit, and then we'll. Yeah.
Why didn't they go ahead? It's gonna be the same thing. Why didn't they do the whole-
I think they missed it. I think it was missed because it was a road.
They didn't ask.
All right, let's go to letter H, move on to our ordinance in business. Letter H, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the city of Ozark, Missouri, chapter 405 zoning regulations, section 405.420 regarding setbacks for single family. Randall,
Yes,
go
sir.
for it.
The next two agenda items kind of go in concert together. So if you'll give me a little latitude to break some agenda protocol here, I'll try to get through both of these basically at once. And then I think the second bill or second agenda item will make more sense. But these two items were inspired by some recent applications or permit applications that staff couldn't approve. And mainly due to limitations within our zoning code. And there was these amendments were initiated by an alderman. We've worked with yourself, and we've kind of put together a proposal on how we could address this, but it requires us to go through a bit of a fix, if you will. So the first agenda item that's before you now would repeal a section of it would actually repeal section 405.420 in its entirety. And that would include the district boundaries, this overlay district, and it would repeal the language that addresses that. The next agenda item would readopt it with some amendments. It would put that entire section into its own section, so it would appear in the table of contents and be a little more visible. And it would also readopt the boundary map for the downtown single-family overdistrict with an addition. So at this time, you've got to make a little bit of, you've got to have confidence that the second agenda item will replace the one that we're asking you to repeal first, which if that makes any sense. So going forward, would you like me to just address both?
You bet.
Okay, I think and I can do that really quick. This is what the amendment would do when we readopt section 405.20 as 405.403. It would expand the boundaries of that overlay district. It would reduce the front yard setbacks for any properties within that for inhabitable space from 25 feet to 15 feet. So in short, that means if there's a living space, a living room, anywhere where people can reside within a home, that portion of the house can get closer to the street by 10 feet. The garage or anything like that still has to set back 25 feet. So it basically allows for a car to park in front of a garage without overhanging the sidewalk. That's what's intended to accomplish there. The side yards will automatically be reduced from 7.5 feet to 5 feet, and that's mainly to accommodate some of these older lots in this part of town within this overlay district where lots are narrow and there's some different configurations because a lot of these properties were platted over 100 years ago. The houses are very old and they're built across property lines, and it's tough for folks to make improvements to their homes and add additions and things like that. So that will help. The fourth item provides even more latitude by you all. If a situation comes forward where the property is adjacent to an alley, an unapproved road, or an easement, you have the latitude upon request or application to reduce it technically to 0, but it's anywhere from 5 feet to 0 to give them a little bit of additional space to accomplish what they want to. And again, that's just for uninhabitable space for garages, carports, patios and things like that. And then again, we would move this section of the overlay district to its own section in the code so that when somebody goes to E code and they look it up, they can find it. It shows up in the table of contents or the index. So I can continue. I've got like 12 slides, and I don't know if you want me to go through each one of those. I can jump ahead, try to answer any questions, and then I can. How would you like me to navigate this?
Well,
It's kind of.
Does this have to be open to the public? Because it's going to be approved, correct? Well,
We have
that's
someone there, the
fine,
gentleman in the back.
but I still have to do it. Okay. You don't need to move.
I apologize for making a difference.
I'm asking, it's coming. It's coming. Well, you can be the staff and applicant.
Okay, that's right. We are.
So you're done talking. So I'm going to open it up to the public for comment. Yay! Thank you. None there. We're going to close the public comment, open it up to commission for questions. He said it very well, I think. But does anybody have questions? Because you can generically overview it again if you want. But I would like to say we ran into a specific issue with a citizen of Ozark, ran into something he couldn't do that he would really have liked to have done because of a 15-foot
Side
yard alleyway that's still owned by the city. And he was having to adhere to those setbacks. Well, this is not just for that citizen. This is going to be for the entire, correct me if I'm wrong, downtown area is going to be affected by this, correct?
That's correct.
So it's going to give opportunity for people to do things they normally wouldn't have been able to do because of these vacated, unused, unmaintained alleyways. You want to add to that, or if Cameron wants to add to that, or anybody staff-wise?
I will say just this portion right here is the only portion that we're expanding within the overlay boundary. And it's basically because of this 1907 plat that technically some of these roads, in fact, I've got a better slide. I've got an even better one here. These roads are still, they're paper alleys, paper roads. They were platted. They still technically exist, but there's some buildings within there, some existing structures adjacent to them, that if one of these property owners wanted to expand them, remodel them, and things, it would provide some limitations. And it also has limitations with respect to this area right here. This is probably one of the more prominent areas where there's an existing alley system that was never improved, never built. We call them paper alleys historically. So this is that area. This is a good location to kind of point that out. This alley is not improved, but it's used as a shared driveway. And this individual hypothetically might want to add on to his garage, and he's unable to because of those setback requirements. The logical question would be, why not just vacate the alley? It's expensive. The city would have to eventually endure going through vacation for all of that system. And we're not so sure that that's something we want to do. There's no utilities in it. A lot of it's grown over by trees and things. So keeping the alley system isn't hurting anybody, and it does provide access. We thought it was a better solution to fix the code and provide opportunities for others to benefit from reduced setbacks elsewhere within this district. So
Everybody kind of get the gist? Okay. Well, it's up to the commission, but we do need to approve them separately.
Yes, sir.
Correct. To letter H, which I read is the one that would remove the current code. So we need a motion.
I move that we remove or delete the entire subsection 405.420.
I'll second.
Are you okay with the wording? To remove, or should we still need to do it in the affirmative?
Just to clarify, you're not removing the entire code. There's still 405, 420 that will stay in place. It's
So
not
what-
the entire section.
Just the regarding.
How do we need
Okay.
to say it? How do we need to say
It's
it?
subsection 6 is what is being
Oh,
repealed.
sorry, I need to keep going, subsection 6.
Yes.
I'll approve that. I'll second that.
Subsection 6. Motion, second, roll call.
Lacy Colbert is absent. Adam Brown is absent. Hadley Goldberg.
Aye.
Suzanne Daniel.
Aye.
Trevor Branch.
Aye.
Chad Zikopoulos.
Aye.
Jeff Garrison.
Aye.
Caleb Berger is absent. And Pete Renfro.
Aye. That's not your fault. I didn't say it. I'm getting tired myself, so.
Okay, I'm trying to find my sheet of paper now, because we're gonna have to do the same
We
thing.
need to do the,
For
we need to do the
letter-
motion now.
For letter I, let me read it. Let's be official. Okay, letter I is an ordinance amending the municipal code of the city of Ozark, Missouri, chapter 405, zoning regulations by adopting one new section, section 405.430 downtown single-family overlay district. Is there more on the paper than that?
That is correct.
So we need a motion to approve the adopting of,
Yes.
oops, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Public hearing is open. Thank you. Public hearing is closed. Now we can motion.
Okay.
Go Suzanne.
I move that we adopt the overlay district as new section 405.430. Is that right?
That's correct.
Good.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Suzanne Daniel.
Aye.
Lacy Colbert is absent. Caleb Berger is absent. Trevor Branch.
Aye.
Hadley Goldberg.
Aye.
Adam Brown is absent. Jeff Garrison.
Aye.
Pete Renfro.
Aye.
Chad Zikopoulos.
Aye.
Done deal, Lucille. Thank you. We're going to click right along. Discussion. Mr. Smith has some important, valuable information concerning a capital improvement plan for the city of Ozark. Sorry you've had to wait so long.
That's right. I will fly through this for the sake of time. So this is the first year the city of Ozark has embarked on a capital improvement program. I'm not looking for any action tonight from the commission. Just want to let you know that we are working on this. Very exciting document. Several cities around have these. I looked at Springfield, Blue Springs, Independence, Columbia, Nixa, Republic, Lebanon, looked at all these surrounding cities to kind of get some ideas and preparing this plan. So just to give you an overview, a lot of times they're referred to the capital improvement plan or the CIP. So there's kind of a process we're going through right now with the adoption of this plan along with our budgeting. So this is a 5-year plan. Every year we'll update this plan. It'll identify any projects that the departments are requesting to be funded through the next 5 years. And again, we will update this every year. Currently, the projects that we will look at on this will anything beyond 50,000 and greater in value, something with the life expectancy of, I believe, 5 years or longer. These are long-term, immediate projects and long-term projects that we'll be identifying. Again, we'll coordinate this with our our annual budget going through the budgeting process. Sorry, trying to get through this as quick as I can. I mentioned 50,000 and greater. This plan will identify what's funded and unfunded and the funding source. There's 9 funding sources in the city of Ozark that will be identified in this plan. Not all funding sources will be utilized, but the majority of those will. So CIP projects, examples, buildings or facilities, land acquisitions, utility construction, streets, park improvements, equipment such as vehicles, machinery or software, and then planning, feasibility, engineering or design studies, different kinds of studies that the city will perform throughout the years. We'll identify these in this plan. The 9 funding sources, again, here's the list of those 9. Most of the funds come from general fund, the park fund, and then the water sewer fund. Basically, is the water fund. Here's kind of the breakdown of the city's income for the funding sources. Again, you can see that the general fund is the majority of our funding source, and then followed by the water fund for the city projects. There is an actual CIP or capital improvement fund. It's only 3.4% of our total funding balance. So been drafting this, and this kind of changed since this presentation as we're refining our budgets. A lot of projects got removed from the 2026 budget, which means they get bumped to the 27, 28, 29, 30, and so on. So right now, administration had one project. We looked at doing a remodel to City Hall. The Human Resources Department looked at two projects. One was a compensation survey. The other one would be a software for their department to function. Parks and Recreation, that could be anything from a park acquisition or property improvement to the OC, a new playground or a new program. The Planning and Development Department, they had outlined the comprehensive plan update. We had that budgeted for this year, but didn't get that completed. And so we are proposing to do that next year, but now with a budget refinement, we may not even get it next year. A vehicle for the department that may get purchased this year. And then maybe some improvements to the Brick Street building. As departments shift around and new buildings are completed or remodeled, the Planning Development Department at some point may remodel and move on down the end of that building. Police Department, the new public safety building that you've heard some recent discussions about, the K-9 facility, and then also their vehicle fleet. Public Works, similar to Parks, a lot of different projects, whether it's equipment, trucks, new sewer improvements, new road improvements, new facilities, and so forth. So currently we had 73 projects in the CIP, 12 are potentially budgeted in 2026. I would say that number now is at least 9 being funded. I haven't gotten an update as of last Friday. Of those 73 projects identified in the 5 years, $173 million plus million dollars. That's a lot of money. 61 projects unfunded, roughly 169 million of that. Of the funded projects that we originally identified, almost 4 million. So you can see not necessarily a shortfall, but there's a lot of things that we have identified to be completed over the next 5 years. And there's a likelihood that those will get bumped even beyond, depending on the caliber of those projects and the priority shifts. Again, the goal is to get these projects in a plan, just to have this in our forethought as we prepare budgets for the next years. Just kind of a summary of each department. You can see the biggest department is Public Works. There's a lot of infrastructure, a lot of assets out there, a lot of equipment. It's a large department. And then the second would be the Police Department. The Public Safety Building was the majority of the makeup of that $19 million. We did get approval to proceed with phase 1 of that next year, which is really just the planning and maybe land acquisition of that. And that was roughly $500,000. These are just the example sheets that you'll see in the CIP. On your left, the compensation survey, that's one of those that just kind of breaks down what this project is, who it's for, the type of project, the year it's requested, the budget amount, and then the fund it comes from, and then just a description and justification of that. On the right-hand side, that's the comprehensive plan, just an overview of that project. Again, these are examples from different departments. Here's for the Public Safety Building from the Police Department. Some of these are on 1 page, some takes 2 pages, depending on the length. And it identifies kind of the breakdown of the cost and the expenditures. This is a project that'll we'll spend money on it for the next 25 or so years to pay off the debt. Example on the left is a park facility project, some soffit replacement at the OC, and then again on the right is a dump truck for the Public Works Department. And then just a summary. This slide is not meant to read, be legible. It is a summary of all the projects. And then when you dig into this and zoom into it, this is something I got to finalize and craft for getting in the CIP. But again, it breaks down the department, the project name, the project number, the project type, whether it's land, planning studies, fleet, facilities, the funding source, funded or unfunded, and then the years requested and the dollar amounts. So again, flew through that really quick. First time for the city of Ozark having a CIP plan. very excited about this. This will be a plan that probably roughly 80 pages in size, a very lengthy plan that will be a great guiding tool as we move forward with the budgeting. Just trying to get back to the first slide. So just kind of see cover, index, and then just kind of the back cover, give you an idea what this might look like. Again, we're on track to take this through with the budget, November, December, to get this adopted following the budget adoption.
What's the city budget?
It's a good question. It's around $60 million.
60?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number.
I was just curious. I never had heard the number.
Well, it's probably an answer I should have, but I don't have it. But again, this is a very powerful tool that we should have had in place several years ago.
Good
Questions?
stuff.
All right.
Good information. Thank you.
Thanks.
Megan, you want to talk about the packet printing?
Yes, so we just wanted to get an idea if everyone still wanted a big printed packet. You might not read all of it, so, or you can tablet, so, or however you want to do it. So if you wanted to give us I'll probably start an email to the individual people, so we don't have more issue and we can get an idea if we need to. Because it's a lot of paper if you aren't going to look at it, so that's all I need.
Mm-hmm. Something to think about. We don't want to take one away from anybody if you want it, but if we can use laptops or print off, like I go print off 10, 15, 20 pages a month to look at home, and then I come here and I don't look at every page. Just can't physically do it. So just something to think about and report back to Megan at some point.
Yeah, not trying to cut anybody off.
No, don't want to do that. Nope. Okay, we just lack one thing.
Can I say one commission comment? Because it was a
Yes.
big thing. Do you guys know that from a girl from Ozark won Miss Teen USA? I don't know if you guys knew that. I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, from our small town, I mean, I just thought that was something cool that we needed to put on record.
Yep, that was neat.
Yeah, and she'll be at the Grand Marshal for the parade. Originally it was for Miss Missouri, now it's Miss USA. Yeah. Sorry.
Jeff, just.
Good point. Yes, sir.
Apologize, just two brief things. I would like the commission to consider possibly changing the format of the meeting to where, like when staff presents on a case, that the commission then asks staff questions at that time, and then the applicant comes up, presents their stuff, and then the commission asks them questions. And I think it just flows a little bit better. And then we can always call people back up in the end, but just something to consider. And I don't know how we do that, but I wanted to throw out there to be thinking about if you guys have comments.
I'm glad you did, because I forgot. That's something I'd like you guys to think about. I don't know if that's, the only thing that came to mind when Chad and I were talking was the format of the meeting can't change as far as I read it, staff presents it, public or applicant comment, public forum, commission, you know what I'm saying? We're not wanting to change that.
No, but just ask
It's
questions
just
between each one of
how
those
we get
steps.
there. I just want to make sure it's not going to affect anyone negatively if we were to start it that way. Well, then I sure don't want to do it.
That's how other cities do it too. Both commissions and like city councils, they ask questions after each presenter.
After each one, each presenter?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so like, even if someone from the audience came up, maybe we would have asked the family, why didn't you buy the barn? But
Yeah, if you want it, why didn't you buy it?
anyway, just something to consider, and maybe we can discuss it at a next meeting, or staff can work on something.
Yeah, you always have the liberty to call us back at any moment if there's a question that comes up, so.
So, I mean, initially, we're saying we don't really see a problem with initiating immediate questions to the staff. And then when we're done for a minute, we move on and we can give immediate questions or comments, or well, questions, concerns to the applicant. Then move on from the applicant, of course, let the public speak, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. Hold comments to the end, but just ask questions as each
Yeah,
presenter.
as they click.
Mm-hmm.
You see a problem with that? Okay, sounds good to me.
Last quick
We'll try to
thing.
initiate that.
Thank you. Last thing I just want to mention briefly, been recent discussion about short-term rentals. And I guess I just want to give my personal experience. I've lived in multiple neighborhoods over the last 25 years, next to homeowners, next to rental homes, next to short-term rentals. And if I had to choose between rental homes and short-term rentals, I'd pick short-term rentals every day, all day. Rental homes, the tenants don't care about the property. They don't maintain the yard, the landscaping. They park trailers and cars in the front yard. They tear up stuff. The landlords typically don't care, don't come around very often. Short-term rentals, I've never had that problem with. It's their business. If they have to, the renters of the short-term rentals review the homes. If they get bad reviews, they're not going to rent them. Same thing goes for the tenants. The owners of the short-term rentals rate the tenants. And so if the tenants get bad reviews for noise, dogs, parties, whatever, then they're not going to be able to rent from other short-term rentals. So if we're going to have requirements for short-term rentals, we need the same requirements for rental homes because they should be treated the same. And I'm not advocating for requirements on either one, but I'm saying if we're going to restrict one, we got to do it equally across the board because living next to a rental house 9 times out of 10 is terrible. Short-term rentals, I live the house right next door to me, short-term rental, 3 years. I know the owner of it. They give me their personal cell phone. Not once have I had a complaint. Not once have I had to call the owner. And so anyway, I know they get negative publicity and I just wanted to speak out. And sorry, there's nobody here other than the mayor.
Well, and here's some time ago, we talked about initiating the rental inspection process. That did kind of die on the vine.
Are you looking at me or the mayor?
Well, you're the one that brought it. I know it's not your game now, but.
This has been discussed long before I got here, and it's been continuing to be discussed. We drafted a rental registration program. At that time, it went through the commission for recommendation, and it failed at the board. And I'm going to say this was probably, or it didn't fail. It got lack of support to move it forward. That's probably been 2 years or so ago. We revised it, got some direction to bring it back to the board. At that time, it got moved from a chapter 400 to 600, I believe, so it didn't require a commission action. Again, we got that to the board and it failed, and it has been mixed feelings to bring it back or not bring it back. Right now, the staff's direction has been, we're not bringing this back. Until that changes, it's currently dead. And that was for rental registration, not a short-term rental. All of our findings, I concur with what Chad said. There is no concerns that I see on short-term rentals at this time. We need to focus on the long-term and get that handled because I agree. They're based on a rating and they self-police their own properties. So I don't see a concern with short-term rental.
Just so you know, City of Springfield is just now implementing a pilot project to do rental inspections, and they're just doing a small neighborhood or two, just a small area of the city, and they're going to have to hire 2 new staff just to do one neighborhood. Yeah, so you can imagine. I know Ozark's not as big, but I mean there would be additional staff requirements. There'd be anyway, and I'm not opposed to inspections. I think some landlords need inspections, but anyway,
It's tough. It was tough. I know it was.
With ours, we are proposing 1 new staff member and the vehicle. The vehicle that I mentioned, the CIP, was for this, and we've been trying to fill a position for the staff member. We couldn't get it filled about a year ago. Just didn't have qualified candidates and had tried again. I think you're doing interviews now. What's that?
What's the pay?
Not enough?
Evidently not enough.
Yeah. Code enforcement and inspections is probably the 2 most difficult, low-paying jobs that I see.
Yeah.
But we would welcome your application.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
I'll move to adjourn.
Motion second, and they all said amen.
If Waffle House was open, don't go to Waffle House now.
Give us a little bit.
Yeah. We just need something else. There was something circulating on Amy's.
Yeah, I have not heard that.
Someone made some.